call to order the January 13th Portershire City Council regular meeting, and also remind us of our guiding principles and the actions that we're about to take. Are we raising the bar in all of our actions? Are we honoring the past but not living in the past? Are we building positive connections with our community and outside partners? And is the decision-making process building a diverse, equitable, and inclusive community? And we have some special guests here tonight. We have Scouting America Troop 1528, and they are going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you want to step up here to the middle there and lead us in the pledge. Don't be shy. Come on up. Yep, that's perfect.
All right. Audience, please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I know. Remember that next time.
Nice work, you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
I'd like to start this evening by welcoming our newest council member, Shira Dedman. So welcome, Shira.
Fantastic to be here, thank you.
And we are now we did the photo, we're setting the agenda. And Councilmember Trenary, I think you're going to ask to amend a couple of items because Councilmember Warden will need to step out of the room, and we want to do those items at the same time.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to amend the business item section, swapping business item E with business item D. So we will handle business item E will now become the adoption of a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with the Washington State Department of Ecology for year 25 through 27 stormwater capacity grant.
The motion just to reorder those because
Switching D and E.
switching D and E is all we're doing.
Second.
So motion and a second to swap the order of items D and E on our agenda. We have a motion by Councilmember Trenary, a second by Councilmember Morrissey. All in favor of reorganizing that, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, that has been changed on the agenda. Any other proposed amendments?
Mayor, I'd like to move for the approval of the agenda as amended.
Second.
A motion by Councilmember Rosapepe, a second by Councilmember Trenary to approve the amended agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And so the agenda is set for this evening. Let me know if you want me to slow down.
I know, I'm still learning procedure, y'all. Still learning procedure. I guess so once we have the consent agenda, then we go into the details of that, like the sub portions of the consent agenda. Does that sound correct?
So now that we've set the agenda, we will
Right.
go through
Got it.
the next
Thanks.
sections of the agenda. Yes.
Got it, thank you.
So now we're at item 4, which is citizen comment, our first citizen comment period. So anyone wishing to address the council, you'd step to the microphone and you would have 3 minutes. And anyone online that would like to address the council, use the raise your hand feature and the clerk will recognize you and bring you into the meeting. And I don't see any of our scouts rushing the microphone. All right, I'm going to close the first citizen comment period. We're to our consent items now, which are items A through D on the consent. Is there a motion to approve the consent? Councilmember Rosapepe?
Mayor, move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the consent agenda.
We could back that up, but that would typically be done when we set the agenda at the beginning.
That's what I had asked.
Okay, I had misunderstood
Okay,
your
okay,
question then,
sorry.
so I may have misguided her because I thought she wanted
Okay.
to approve the agenda,
But-
so.
And I second that, because I have a question too on the consent agenda.
Sorry, so yes, I thought then now we go into the consent agenda. I apologize. I wanted to amend the consent agenda,
Point of
one of the points on it.
Point of order? Just, we have a motion on the floor right now, but I also, to your comment, we can still make comments during the consent agenda.
Typically.
Not typically, but we could.
We could.
Probably in
I
this
think,
case.
I'm going to turn to the attorney. I think it would be more appropriate than if they're wanting to move something off the consent agenda than to do so versus, what is your recommendation?
Correct, yes. You need to move to amend the consent agenda to remove an item for discussion. The underlying motion, however, that Councilmember Rosapepe made did not have a second yet prior to the amendments.
Well,
Okay.
I was going to withdraw mine.
Oh, I see, okay.
Okay, because it'll make it easier that way. So I'm
Perfect.
going to withdraw my approval of the consent agenda at this time.
Okay.
I would like to move to amend the consent agenda.
Perfect, yes. Perfectly stated, yeah.
Oh, which item? To remove item D from the consent agenda
And
I-
place it in business?
and to place it in business items.
And I second that.
So that would be
We said
consent agenda item D to business
this item,
item N, as in Nancy?
Yep.
Gotcha.
okay. There's a motion and a second to move consent item D to business item N. And just for future reference, when in the beginning of the meeting, when we're setting the agenda, that's the typical time when you would say, I wish to remove something from the consent agenda and move it to business. So, okay, no worries. It's all new. Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the table to move the consent item D to business item N. All in favor of that action, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, that action has been taken. Are there any other proposed amendments to the consent agenda? Okay, hearing none. Go ahead, Councilmember Rosepepe.
Mayor, I'd like to move to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Second.
A motion by Councilmember Rosepepe, a second by Councilmember Diener to approve the consent agenda as amended, which now represents items A, B, and C. All in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, the consent agenda has been approved. We don't have any presentations, we don't have any public hearings, but we've got a lot of business items tonight. So, the first of which is item A, approval of a collective bargaining agreement with Teamsters Local 589, representing Public Works employees for 2026 through 2028. Ms. Lund, this is you.
Thank you, and good evening, council. The contract between the city and Teamsters Local 589, representing Public Works employees, expired December 31st of 2025. The city and representatives from the Teamsters have been meeting since September to negotiate a successor agreement. The proposed agreement represents an agreement reached between the parties as part of the collective bargaining process. The Teamsters have voted and ratified this agreement. The City Council has been briefed on the proposed changes and provided the complete draft agreement under attorney-client privilege. The request is for the council to authorize the mayor to sign the agreement for the Public Works employees for 2026-2028. And before I ask you to consider that, I just want to thank the Teamsters. We have a great working relationship with our Teamsters Local and our employee group, and had very amicable and productive labor negotiations with them. So I want to go on the record and thank them for that. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, Councilmember, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I move to authorize the mayor to sign the 2026 to 2028 collective bargaining agreement between the City of Port Orchard and the Teamsters Local Union 589, representing public work employees.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Diener, second by Councilmember Rosapepe. Any questions of Ms. Lund? Comments? Go ahead, Councilmember.
I'd like to make a comment. I'd like to thank Debbie, Noah, the mayor, our employees, and Teamsters. There's a lot of work that goes into a contract, and this contract is what I would consider fair. It has some significant raises in it to make us compatible with our sister cities. And so I think this is a good deal for all, including the city, because it gives us some stability with the 3-year contract. So well done, and I'm all in favor of this one, and my comments will apply, obviously, to the second one also. Thank you.
Councilmember, go.
Jay said it perfectly. I'll second that. He did a great job. We learned about the process, and it's got to take a lot of time and a lot of commitment, and so I applaud you and your team for doing that. So thank you.
Questions? All right, you'll be voting on the approval of a collective bargaining agreement with Teamsters Local 589, representing Public Works employees. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, the agreement has been ratified. We are to item B now, approval of a collective bargaining agreement with Teamsters Local 589, representing municipal court employees for 2026 through 2028. Ms. Lund, this is you again.
Thank you. Same song, different dance. This is our municipal court employees, the 2 office staff in that department. Municipal court's a little bit different in that these employees are dual employees. They are employees of the municipal court judge, Mr. Drury, as well as city employees. So in this case, Judge Drury did ask me to negotiate the contract on behalf of the court, which we did, and again, with good working relationships with the Teamster Union. 3-year contract. Would like to propose that you adopt this agreement, which you've also been briefed on and sent to you under attorney-client privilege.
Councilmember Trenary.
I move to authorize the mayor to sign the 2026 through 2028 collective bargaining agreement between the City of Port Orchard and the Teamsters Local Union 589, representing municipal court employees.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Trenary and a second by Councilmember Morrissey, I believe. Any questions similar to the other contract? I think your comments hold true for this one also. Commend Ms. Lund. She did the heavy lifting on this, but it was a team effort. That's for certain. So.
Mayor, I did leave somebody out. I did want to thank our our council members that are on the finance committee, because they do review our, with Noah and his team, our financial situation of the city, and that's been important, that we're remaining to be on track and on target with our budget. So kudos to those folks also.
All right, with no further questions, you'll be voting to approve a collective bargaining agreement with Teamsters Local 589, representing municipal court employees for 2026 through 2028. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, this agreement is also ratified and approved. So we are to item C now, which is the adoption of a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a contract with Herrera for stormwater action plan update for 2025. Councilmember Warden, you wanting to step out? Okay. Give him a moment. And this is Mr. Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, council members. The City of Port Orchard must submit an updated stormwater management plan, our SMAP, by March 31st, 2027, as required by the Western Washington Phase 2 Municipal Stormwater Permit. The plan outlines stormwater retrofit projects, program improvements, and strategies to enhance water quality and ensure compliance with the state regulations. We issued a request for qualifications back in July for professional engineering services. We evaluated firms based on expertise in stormwater planning, watershed analysis, and regulatory compliance. After scoring and interviewing, Herrera Environmental Consultants was selected as the most qualified firm. We negotiated the scope and fee for the SMAP update. Staff is presenting the resolution for authorization for mayor to sign. This is, again, a permit requirement for our MPDS stormwater permit. We did meet with the Washington State Department of Ecology yesterday for 3 hours reviewing all the upcoming guidelines. This permit is constantly evolving, so it's very a critical piece to be prepared for this.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I move to approve a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a contract with Herrera Environmental Consultants for the Stormwater Action Plan Update 2025 in the amount of $45,000.
Second.
Motion Motion by Councilmember Morrissey, a second by Councilmember Fenton. Any questions of Mr. Ryan of this body of work? Go ahead, sir.
Is this the couple that came to our work study just a little while back? I can't remember if that was sewer or stormwater, the folks that came. I believe they might even been a husband and wife combo.
So that was Consular Engineering, and
That
that
was
was our, that was the sewer comprehensive.
Sewer. Okay, so it was sewer. Okay, thank you. I just couldn't remember, and I was trying to put that together, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Different pipe.
So is this also similarly situated where that's just, it's required by law that we have to have a consultant look at that?
We would need to be staffed appropriately. It's a big body of work. The expertise with the staffing firms, they're familiar with what's happening in Washington. And if we had a bigger operation, a large city, they might have the appropriate staff.
Okay, thank you.
Also, the volume of the work and also the expertise that we need the consultant for. Councilmember Trenary, go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Ryan, how often is the city expected to update this plan?
The SMAP is updated, I want to say 6 years, but I am going to have to check back onto that. Historically, this is something that Ecology will want us to adopt by ordinance in the future. That came out of yesterday's meeting. A few years ago, the city adopted its first ever stormwater comprehensive plan. So the SMAP is a component of that, which is this is a smaller body of work. And we'll update this and we'll set an ordinance that creates a statement.
All right, thank you.
He believes 6 years, but he's going to confirm. Other questions? All right, you'll be voting to adopt a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a contract with Herrera for the Stormwater Action Plan for 2025. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, the resolution passes. We are to our former item E, which is now item D, adoption of a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with the Washington State Department of Ecology for the year 2025-2027 Stormwater Capacity Grant. Mr. Ryan, this is you again.
Thank you. The City of Port Orchard has been awarded $120,000 under the Washington State Department of Ecology's Biennial Stormwater Capacity Grants Program. No local match is required. This supports compliance with the Western Washington Phase 2 Municipal Stormwater Permit. Eligible uses of the grant can be operational and maintenance of stormwater facilities, program administration and staff support for permit compliance, public education and outreach related to the stormwater management, training and equipment to improve stormwater system performance. This grant is something that we typically get every single year. Eligible costs, just outlined a few, is anything that will enhance our stormwater permit and our ability to do the job. Typically, this body of work that we previously talked about could be an eligible reimbursable for this grant.
Councilmember Diener.
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt a resolution approving and ratifying the mayor's execution of an agreement with the Washington State Department of Ecology for water quality stormwater capacity grant funding agreement number WQSWCAP-2527-POR-PW-00172 in the amount of $120,000.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions for Mr. Ryan? Go ahead, Mr. Diener. Councilmember Diener.
So I was looking through this, and I've got some questions and some comments. It appears to me that on page 76 and 78 of the packet, task 1 and task 2 are identical. Or maybe I've missed something, but when I quickly scanned task 2, it looked to be very similar, at least, if not identical to task 1. And then I have some other comments and questions.
I'm going to have to keep looking at this, trying to pull it up here.
Okay. In the meantime, while you're pulling that up, part of the grant would be used for education, stormwater education. I would really love to see the city focus on stormwater education as it regards fireworks and fireworks debris going into our stormwater system. I think that would be well worth the money to look at a program to inform people on what fireworks debris, and just fireworks in general, may do our stormwater system and our marine environment. And I have a question about 4D on page 76. Let me get there myself.
To your prior point, we had very encouraging interviews for our public information officer yesterday. We're on background checks with somebody that I'm very excited about. So having that somebody on staff will enable us to do.
That's great. Great news.
Edmund, you have a question?
Oh, I was gonna say, don't we have like an interlocal agreement that specifically we pay into some West Sound Stormwater Education Group, something like that?
We're members of several. It's the West SOG, West Sound. We have several work groups that we participate in for stormwater outreach throughout the Puget Sound. We partner with Kitsap County. We participate in Adopt a Spot for solid waste debris, which qualifies under stormwater. We have several key partnerships with Bremerton, Cambridge Island, the tribes, our tribal partners. So there's several work groups that we participate.
Well, I guess my question is that wouldn't what Council Member Diener is speaking to isn't the, I guess what I'll call it purview of WSOG, you call it WSOG?
WestSOG, there's so many different, there's so many acronyms,
Isn't that
yes.
that's sort of really what they're tasked with? And if so, how would we enable that our voice is heard, like our needs in terms of stormwater education are met?
So we prioritize these larger operating groups. One of them right now is covering dumpsters. It's, dumpsters left open, get out, seagulls, they pollute the environment. We as an agency can champion causes that the council would like to see. We started participating last year in the farmers market. I think we had an excellent booth down there if you happen to see it. We plan on continuing to do that. So we can champion our own causes. We want to hear from the public. We want to hear from council, and we want to bring these important topics to the public.
So you're our representative in WSOG?
So Melinda is our representative for the city.
One of the managers within the department.
Thank you.
And then myself, I participate in the Whisper, which is the elected and department heads throughout the area. Another different working group. We have about 4 different staff that represent the city on behalf for stormwater.
Thank you, Director.
So 4D on page 76 speaks to participation in watershed planning. Could you explain that a little bit more? What would that look like?
I'm trying to get the context of the whole thing.
So that's a task expected outcome on page 76 of the packet?
And we're talking the capacity grant, correct?
Yes. 4D, participation in applicable watershed planning efforts.
That would be these groups that we've just talked about. We specifically talked about WSOG and the Whisper Working Group, and that was the conversation we had with Ecology, so I believe that.
Okay, I can talk to you more offline about watersheds in the city. I have another question on 10B, so further down that page. Technical assistance and enforcement. I'm just curious what enforcement looks like today. And that's on page 7 of the application, but also page 77 of the packet.
So technical assistance and enforcement, what it looks today for the city. We have our FOGs in compliance position. They are actively partnering with the Department of Ecology, Health Department. Many of the times we have these stormwater issues, illicit discharge. They go hand in hand with health and ecology because it could be sewer, it could be stormwater. Recently, a few weeks back, I sent an email to council about the fuel issue outside of City Hall.
Yes.
We're immediately talking to these partners, getting guidance, next steps. Technical assistance, we're talking to the Department of Ecology. We got a spill responder to coordinate with the owner of the business. They were able to be out within a few hours and mitigate the risk. So high-level technical assistant, and then we have additional resources. There is a trailer, a spill response trailer located down at the marina. Whenever there's a major event like this, like the booms that were placed out in the sound, those are readily available. So those are all things that come from these working groups.
Yeah, okay. And then finally, just circling back to task 1 versus task 2, can we move forward with this if there's supposed to be a different task 2? Or am I making something up?
I'm confused on your question as well.
Okay, so on page.
I only see 2 tasks.
Yeah, but they're identical.
No, one says it's for project management, the other's for permit implementation, according to my. Is that what you have?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. When I look through, one says permit implementation, the second one, right?
So I see task 1 shows project management,
Yep.
project administration management, and then task 2 shows permit implementation.
And then the task descriptions for both are identical.
Councilmember, I think this is a method of the ecology form because there's no
Okay.
monetary amount awarded for task 1. The monetary amount is assigned solely for task 2.
Okay.
So I think it's probably a duplication of their form.
Okay.
But you are correct. The task descriptions are identical. The task expected outcome sections of both tasks are identical. But for task 1, scope of work at the top says task costs $0.
Right.
Whereas for task 2, that's where the $120,000 is assigned.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we hadn't cut and paste or something.
This is ecology's form.
is
We're
their
not allowed to
document.
touch it. Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you, that's all that I have.
Marcy, you have questions? Nope, your questions were answered? All right. Further questions, Mr. Ryan? Comments? We always like to have grants, it's other people's money to perform these activities, so. And we don't have to match, that's right. So you'll be voting to adopt a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with the Washington State Department of Ecology for the year 2025 through 2027 Stormwater Capacity Grant Program. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, the resolution passes. You can grab, somebody's waving at him already, I think. He's, yep, all right. Move on now to our former item D, which is now item E, adoption of a resolution accepting 3 temporary construction easements for Highway 166 Bay Street Improvement Project. Mr. Ryan, this is you again.
Thank you. To facilitate the construction activities for the SR 166 Bay Street Improvement Project, the city has secured 3 temporary construction easements from property owners along the project corridor. These easements allow work such as excavation, utility installation, sidewalk and driveway reconstruction and restoration. The specific easements from the property owners is the Flying Dutchman. That's 2,215 square feet for $12,000. Kitsap Bank, 5,268 square feet of $23,800. Kitsap Bank, $3,208 for, 3,208 square feet for $17,400. The duration of this project that will access these properties, each easement expires November 30th, 2026. We are eager to get this project started. Additionally, there's going to be a few other easements that are going to come up through this process. We are going very rapidly to get this project bid and prepared so we can be prepared for construction this spring and summer. I brought this tonight as a business item. I would like to bring the future ones as consent. Again, these are temporary construction easements, so the property would be surrendered back to the property owner at the conclusion of construction.
Councilmember Warden?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt resolution authorizing the mayor or designee to accept 3 temporary construction easements for the SR 166 Bay Street Improvement Project.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Warden, and that was Councilmember Diener, I believe. Okay. And questions of Mr. Ryan? Go ahead.
Dennis, this is kind of a tangent off of this. I know we've seen some of it before, but as we get closer, if we could get a update on the traffic pattern changes, coming down when we're getting ready to do the project, that would be very helpful. I know you all are working closely with merchants and other members of the community, but it'd be nice to see everything once we're finalized. So thank you.
And I will add that this was a high topic that City Engineer Chris Hammer and I were having just earlier. We plan on taking up a a lot of our new staffing positions time that's going to be doing outreach. This is a very high priority, and it affects the region, not just Port Orchard.
Thank you.
And we'll come up with a plan, but in the end, after the contract is awarded, we will work with the contractor through the finer details on what that looks like and timelines and so on and so forth. So, Councilmember Morrissey, go ahead.
Yeah, Director Ryan, I don't think I have a whole lot of consternation around putting this on consent agenda. I would maybe want to have in a call out on that. 2 of these 3 parcels seem to be within about 10 cents per square foot of each other. The other's an outlier. If there are outliers, I'd just like to have some more color in there. The one outlier here is not that big a difference. It's not a huge difference, but it is about $1 per square foot difference than the other 2. And I'm sure that just is part of negotiations and some of that. But I would like to look for some clarity for that if you want to put that on consent agenda.
Okay, thank you.
And I believe we only have 2 left.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know how many you were going to need.
This is the majority of them.
Yep.
Councilmember, go ahead.
So that was a good comment, appreciate that. I don't have a problem with any of our temporary construction easements going to consent. I have faith that Public Works knows what they're doing, and so I'm cool with that now and in the future for any projects that require temporary construction.
These aren't purchases. This is a
Right.
temporary construction
Yeah.
easement. Yeah.
But there's still $1 attached to the Star Meadow
Yes,
border.
there
right?
is. Yes.
So I mean, if it exceeds a certain dollar figure, we would have to.
Take them case by, yeah, they're, yeah,
I think we should.
case by case, I guess, yeah.
But I agree though with the.
Yeah.
Looking for color in the report
Yeah, no,
that
if there's
goes
an
into.
exceptional one, then that probably should be discussed or addressed, yeah.
Fair enough. Councilmember Warden?
You
go ahead.
stated you hope to get the project started this summer?
Yes,
No,
we are
the
going to go out
spring.
to bid.
The spring and construction through the summer. is what
Okay.
he said.
Okay. I'm going.
It's out to bid.
Yeah.
We hope in the next 30, 45 days to get it out to bid, but we've got 2 more easements to get and some information from PSC that they aren't being very, they're not easy to deal with. They're Puget Sound Energy. And we don't have a choice to pick a different power utility, so we just have to work through the process. But we're working as hard as we can on it. We're right now down to one of only, I'll talk about this on my mayor's report. We only have 1 of 4 engineers at City Hall right now, so.
And are we using our regular staffing for the inspection and oversight and construction?
This will, correct me if I'm wrong, Dennis, we are required, because this is a state highway and the federal money, it'd have to have a contract inspector from the outside, so it won't be us on this.
I just didn't want to take away from our.
Yeah, and be honest, we probably don't have the capacity
Yeah,
right now
yeah.
to do it.
All right, thanks.
Further questions or comments? Okay, we'll be voting on the adoption of a resolution accepting 3 temporary construction easements for the Bay Street project. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. The resolution for the easements has passed. We're to item F now, adoption of a resolution accepting the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee's recommendation for the 2026 funding. Ms. Wallace, this is you.
Sure, my microphone works. All right, good evening, Mayor, Council. So for many years, the city has elected to collect lodging tax dollars in accordance with RCW 67.28 to help aid in tourism for the city. Part of that process is for the committee to review funding requests and provide a recommendation to the council for their consideration. On December 17, 2025, the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee heard presentations from applicants and then deliberated and came to a consensus on those allocations. In addition, the committee discussed the following. All of the applicants do tremendous amount of work, either by putting on events, which result in more tourism, traffic, and/or by increases in the sales tax dollars from eating and shopping in the city to marketing Port Orchard. In addition, they felt that amounts allocated to Visit Kitsap in 2025 did not equal the amount of return expected for those funds. Rather than award another small amount, they felt that that small amount would be better spent elsewhere, therefore did not allocate any funds to them. In addition, the funding amount for South Kitsap Chamber is significantly different than the ask and other alike partners because it was stated that they are restructuring the organization and it would be hard pressed to allocate much of their time. So again, the funds were redistributed to better fit the needs of the city. The committee recommends the following fathoms of fund for event marketing. Amount requested was $50,500. Committee is recommending $35,000. Kitsap Mustang Club for event marketing, they requested $4,000, and the committee is recommending $2,500. The Port Orchard Historical Theater Foundation is requesting funding for event and tourism marketing of $2,000, which the committee is recommending $1,500. Port Orchard Waterfront Alliance is requesting funding for event and tourism marketing as well. They requested $31,729. Committee is requesting an amount of $31,000. So the South Kitsap Chamber of Commerce, again, requesting for event and tourism marketing funds of $30,500, and committee's recommending $18,500. Saints Car Club, event marketing, $10,000. Committee's recommending $9,500. Visit Kitsap Tourism Marketing requested $40,000, and again, the committee's recommending $0. Love Kitsap for tourism marketing, $51,000 is what they requested. Committee's allocation request is $32,000. Total dollars requested from the applicants for 2026 funding is $219,729. And as you may be aware, the amount for allocation from the biennial budget is $130,000. Additionally, I would like to point out that on December 23rd, 2025, staff was made aware that one of the committee members representing a hotelier, commonly known as Airbnb, that collects the tax business location may not be within the city limits. On December 30th, 2025, it was confirmed that that business is one parcel away from being within the city limits. In looking at the state and city requirements, along with unanimous consensus of the committee, the outcome of the removal of that person, as well as an equal partner of the organization that can use the tax, the outcome of those allocations would not be different should they be removed. Therefore, staff is presenting the recommendation by the committee. It is understood that moving forward, all future committee members will have all aspects of the state and city requirements met and confirmed by staff before committee appointments. Therefore, staff recommends adoption of the resolution approving the lodging tax recommendations for 2026 distribution as presented.
Councilmember Morrissey.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I move to adopt a resolution adopting the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee's recommendation for the 2026 funding allocation as presented.
Second. The second motion by Councilmember Morrissey, second by Councilmember Chineri.
I have comments before we vote.
Oh, yeah, for
And
sure.
I will ask for those, yes. Councilmember Dedman, do you have, Councilmember Morrissey,
I made the
you as
motion.
the motion maker, would you like to speak first?
I would. So, and the reason I raised my hand to make the motion is, as many of you know, I'm the chair of this committee. So first off, we'd like to thank the clerk's office. They do a lion's share of the work for our committee. So thank you to the clerk's office for taking care of that. And as you can imagine, folks that don't have all our PRA training and some of that, it can be a lot of work. So I appreciate that. Two quick things I want to kind of quickly talk about before we open up for other questions, because I think I can give any type of color that you'll need in any of this. One, I just want to reiterate, I know you heard from Ms. Wallace around the decision at $0 of funding for Visit Kitsap. Their previous ask was for a photography within, to build up their repertoire of photography within Port Orchard. The committee asked some pointed questions around access to that, and that is owned property of Visit Kitsap. And so they didn't feel that felt great to them, as well as the work that kind of came out of the result of their funding in the past. So they made the tough decision to go ahead and move forward without funding them, on top of there's just been a lot of, how do I put this? consternation around Visit Kitsap and its future, and their lack of funding through the county as well. So there's that. Additionally, I want to speak to just briefly the last blurb from Ms. Wallace as well. It would be beyond me to check down to the parcel level of verifying somebody on that. And I think we're going to have a process in place in the future for that. But it is what it is. And we had a conversation with the city attorney to make sure that, hey, this was a unanimous vote, so it wouldn't have turned anything different. And I don't believe in any way, shape, or form during the process we would have come to any different conclusions based off of the interactions that happened there. So we did decide to move forward with the recommendations from the committee as presented. So I'm sure there's plenty of other color I can give, but I'd like to know what you'd like to know more of from there.
Councilmember Dedman, do you have a comment or question?
I have both the question and comment. My first question is, here it says budgeted amount in $100,000 plus an additional $30,000. What does that mean? Why is it separate than what it says budgeted amount? Because I see two more lines down there where it says fiscal year 2024 budgeted amount 100,000 with an additional 25,000 allocation at the request of the committee. Was the 30,000 requested by the committee? How was that 30,000? I guess where is that plus an additional 30,000 coming from?
So there's kind of multiple answers to that same question. I'm going to let Director Crocker jump in if I misstep. But with it being a FIFA year, we wanted to use some additional monies knowing that we're going to have an additional 1 million people in our area this summer that we wouldn't have compared to any other summer. So we thought it was important to make sure that our city is highlighted and the events and things that are going on, that we're able to bring more people our direction, as well as the fund has, I hope I'm using the right terminology, overperformed, meaning the funds were in there. There could be a myriad of reasons for that, including folks from prior years not fully spending all of their dollars. And so that leaves those monies in the fund, but we had only originally budgeted, as we normally do, 100, and so we budgeted this year for 130 as opposed to the normal 100 that we would have budgeted for.
To further clarify that, we do a biennial budget, and each biennium, or half of the biennium, we budgeted $100,000 in each half. And then in the fall, of this past fall, we do a mid-year review. And that's where we were directed by the council to add an additional $30,000 to the lodging tax allocation, bumping it up to the $130,000 level, because the committee wanted to do some additional activities related to FIFA in this allocation process. Does that?
Okay, so that does kind of also go to another comment, or I guess question. So one of the organization applicants is Love Kitsap, and I would like to discuss Love Kitsap's allocation, because I fear that it might run amok of the Washington State rule about gifting public funds. Now, why am I saying this? Because I believe that Love Kitsap is owned and or operated by Mr. Josh Johnson. And from my understanding, and also how I was introduced by Mr. Johnson, was as the City of Port Orchard's public information officer. In addition, it is my understanding that Mr. Johnson has another entity that is owned or operated by him, that it may have contracted with the city to provide marketing related services as to FIFA. And so this would seem to me to be sort of an overlap, thus my concerns about it providing a gift of public funds.
Okay, so I'm going to try, there was a lot in there, and this is going to need to be done by committee.
Okay, I was trying to be like.
So, Love Kitsap was awarded money last year as well, but they hadn't finalized their new entity, and it was under another name at the time. Serotonin. And they did a body of work preparing us for FIFA, and we got results of some of the body of work last year. So we saw that, I can't remember the date, but it was fall of last year. So that's the first one, and I know he does operate other entities. I don't know everybody's entities, but I do know that. I don't think I have a worry about gifting of funds because there's a work product that has to be delivered, and this is a reimbursement thing. He has done this work for us in the past, and was the committee's prime choice for delivering external marketing, because they basically do the same thing as what Visit Kitsap does.
And there's not a gifting of public funds here. All of these allocations, and that's how we end up with excess funds in this, at times, in this fund. They have to do the work, submit the work to us, then seek reimbursement from the clerk's office, who reviews that body of work, and then in turn it is sent to the finance department. So these dollars, which the Serotonin contract last year was for some FIFA body of work, which was completed. I believe it's been reimbursed, and that body of work was presented to this council twice, once at the Economic Development Tourism Committee, and then to the full council. Mr. Johnson's Serotonin, the company that he and his wife own, also are contract public information officers. You're correct. They have a contract for, I believe it's $25,000 a year, from memory, and it's not a, and it's as needed, and so as they do work for the city, they bill the city for that work. So it's not that we're giving $25,000 to have them on retainer. They do specific work for us as needed with a maximum contract amount of $50,000 over the biennial budget. And so although we're working towards hiring our own and having our own staff member to do that work, that contract is still in place because there's going to be a transition period as we ramp this person up, and we wanted a smooth handoff between Serotonin, who's doing our contract work, and our staff member that's going to do that work, which is separate than this lodging tax dollars. It's about our, notices and things of that nature, and making sure that they're done in a professional manner.
Well, I guess my last comment to that, thank you for explaining that to me, would be that I noticed that there seems to be a lot of overlap with the applicants. So like looking at a lot of the applications asking for money to cover certain marketing and referring to the fact that they work with Love Kitsap. So I guess understanding a little bit better that if we are paying this grant money for them to then pay Love Kitsap to do this work, I guess having a better sense of what the grant, we'd be paying the grant Love Kitsap, and differentiating so that we're not paying essentially twice over. Because I just think that especially right now given the economy doing this, we have to be careful not to just keep paying out money if those services are already being paid for from everybody's individual application.
I can assure you that's not the case. Each one of these proposals was weighed by that committee, the Lodging Tax Committee, that Councilmember Morrissey, and your choice here this evening is to accept their recommendation or reject their recommendation.
Well, last point then, when we keep talking about the committee, I am aware that it was unanimous. However, one of the
committee members, I believe, is related to Mr. Johnson. So it would seem that that wouldn't hold extra weight. If anything, he might have recused himself, especially given that we're looking at Visit Kitsap and Love Kitsap do, it seems, a lot of the same work, just from other applications that I've looked at, so that there might have been a recusal just to make sure that everything is sort of not, and again, especially as I was looking through the applications, so there was a lot of duplication of language, is the best way I can put it. But thank you for explaining, I appreciate it.
Councilmember Fenton.
Oh, yeah, just verification, because I know, so we got Visit Kitsap, tourism, marketing, they asked for 40,000, but we said no, they're not getting any LTAC. But we said yes, Love Kitsap, tourism, marketing, and we're giving them 32,000 in the LTAC. And I mean, I've seen their advertisement and they're definitely for us right here in our city. So just to kind of piggyback off of what your question is, so the LTAC is going to Love Kitsap, LTAC, but did we also give them other funds out of the city budget?
Not to Love Kitsap.
Okay, not to Love Kitsap. Okay.
We do not have a contract with Love Kitsap.
Okay, so we're only giving them money through LTAC for Love Kitsap. But Visit Kitsap, they get money from the city, right? No.
No, they do not.
Okay, they don't, okay.
The only contract, public information contract we have is with Serotonin.
Visit Kitsap got money in 2025 because they were allocated from the lodging tax from last year, $5,000. And I don't know if they used 100% of that, or if you know off the top of your head, Ms. Wallace. But I know they did some because they said they were using it for pictures, but I don't know if they completely redeemed, but they were budgeted. I do know that they said they used some of it. I don't remember if it was 100%. But we're advocating, well, what the committee has put out for this year is they're not funding Visit Kitsap.
So to clarify your question, there's lodging tax dollars and then there's city's resources.
Right.
Okay, it's general fund dollars, okay? General fund dollars are not part of this process. The only general fund dollars for marketing the city are through our Serotonin contract, okay? Those are general fund dollars, that 50,000 over the biennium. And these are lodging tax dollars that have to be used for better term, putting heads in beds is the criteria. Bringing visitors to our community. And it's in state statute described how that, this committee process works. They make a recommendation and then it's brought before the council to approve or deny the recommendation of the committee. Okay, Councilmember Warden?
Yeah, with the road project happening, Fathoms of Fun, Saints Car Show, have they been made aware of the dollars that are going to be utilized here? Could be challenging. Like the dollars, if they don't.
They gave a proposal on how they're going to spend the
I
dollars.
mean, Fathoms of Fun is more than just a parade.
Correct. It's
I'm
the fireworks.
Fully aware. Like this is a drop in the bucket, right? For them, for all that they do. Fully aware. Amazing people. I was just kind of looking at the ones on here and kind of seeing how that's going to affect this year's.
I think the events are going to look differently. There's no doubt about that.
Even with the, the Orchard Waterfront Alliance, with their dollars as well. But yeah, kind of concerning, but hopefully we can make it through it.
I apologize if I misspoke, and I would say that some of my confusion might have come from, I tried to watch the presentations and the committee, and I had problems. It was challenging for me because I'm used to watching things on YouTube, because I use, because of the way I process information, I use like closed caption functions and stuff like that on YouTube a lot of times. The reason why I say that is because when I remember thinking that when I was trying to find this information about the LTAC and look at the presentation, it took me into a completely different system than YouTube, because I'm used to our meetings being on YouTube, and I found that system difficult to use. I remember trying to create like a transcript and not being able to figure out how to create like some kind of written transcript so that I could read what people were saying and what was happening. So I'm bringing this up because if this is an accessibility issue for me, somebody who, I can technically read what's in front of me and listen, but for people who might really rely on having more accessible technology to be able to follow what's happening in these committee meetings, that if it's possible, maybe it would be helpful that these committees are put on YouTube. I know other committees, like I think it was transportation, I watched one, economic development, these were all on YouTube. So like I said, they're easier to follow. This one, I personally had challenges following because of the different system that was used.
Appreciate the feedback. Other comments about the lodging tax allocations? All right, you'll be voting on adoption of a resolution accepting the Lodging Tax Committee's recommendations for the 2026 funding. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
I am opposed.
Okay, and one opposed. The item G, adoption of a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a commercial facilities contract with PSE for the Melcher Pump Station Rehabilitation Project. Mr. Ryan.
Thank you. Before you is a resolution that would approve the mayor to sign a agreement with Puget Sound Energy for $43,897.76. The Melcher Water Pump Station Rehabilitation is a critical upgrade to the city's water system. Funded through the Washington State Public Works Board loan program, construction is currently underway. This will entail electrical work required to this would include electrical work that consists of removal of a idle three-phase transformer bank, replacement of the existing pole, relocation of the primary spans. Any questions for this work?
But well, how about after we make a motion in a second, we'll ask you those questions.
Mr. Ryan.
Councilmember Warden.
It's going to get longer. I moved to adopt a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a commercial electric facilities contract with Puget Sound Energy for the Melcher Pump Station Rehabilitation Project in the amount of $43,897.76 with additional cost to be identified by PSE.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Warden, second by Councilmember Rosepepe. Is motion maker, Councilmember, you have a question or not?
I do.
You do?
Yeah. Go ahead, Mark.
No, you're
Okay.
I know PSE gets to determine how much we pay. It does.
Yeah,
I don't like it either.
Well, why are we doing it?
We don't have any choice.
If we don't like it, why are we doing it? No, I mean, we're not going to open a pocketbook up for them. Like,
But we got to, I'll let Mr. Ryan speak to the contract and how it works.
So the contract, they have standard fees. They provide the proposal based off the hours to construct. We're paying their premium wage that they have for linemen, foremen. They're planning. They have engineering services associated with it. It's very unique. I'm very used to public utilities that are our public utilities. PSE, Puget Sound Energy, is private, so it's why we have to go through the formalized contract like this. And they are a purveyor.
for sure.
And we have no other choice on
They're the only ones that can touch it.
So they're giving us their hourly rate. If it takes them 4 more hours than they anticipate, then we've got to.
I guess my last question would be, have we, in the past, ever had an issue with a drastic over?
Not anything drastic that I'm aware of. They haven't come back with, we haven't come back with a huge change order from Puget Sound Energy in recent history.
Sure.
Councilmember Terneri, the same question?
No, but I do have some concerns as well. We're already halfway through this 90-day permit or 90-day quote. It's due to expire. It was presented 11/26/25 for 90 days. We got about 42 days left. We've got to act on this. It's PSE. I mean, I hope there's none of them in the audience, but they don't act quickly. They don't get things done quickly for the city or for the public. There's no language in here that says anything except that bid's only good for that 90 days and then they'll rebid it. There's no caps on what that rebid cost might be. I feel kind of like we're handcuffed here a little bit. We're damned if we do and we're damned if we don't. And I don't like that feeling, but I guess I can kind of understand the fact that
we have to replace the transformers out there, and they're the only ones that can do it.
But I'm not terribly comfortable with it.
Yeah, I hear you. Councilmember, go ahead.
I just want to share that when I was reviewing the packet, I didn't like the feeling of an open checkbook either.
Councilmember Morrissey.
Yeah, this is just clarification that it's not an open checkbook. While I get that they can bill us, we're not authorizing any more tonight than the $43,897.76. Is that correct? The motion says with additional costs to be identified, but I'm not comfortable saying yes to that. I would like to see that full dollar amount before I'm asked to say. I can authorize the up to this amount, and if they want to come back for more, I'd be happy to do that, but I'd have to verify with Ms. Archer that the way that it's written would allow our staff to pay whatever bill comes.
Much like the ecology form we looked at earlier, these contracts are non-negotiable, take it or leave it. And the form of the contract, I agree, I do not like the way they do this. It does not include a cap. So to your point, to the extent the council would like to place a cap, the motion would need to be to include a cap. So the proposed motion on this item is adoption of a resolution, correct? This is a resolution. Yeah. Adoption of a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a commercial facilities contract for PSE for the Melcher Pump Station rehab project not to exceed $75,000.
It's like 60.
I was going to say
60,000.
I'll say 60 grand.
I'm okay with 60.
60.
So
Okay.
if somebody wanted to
So
make
you
a
could
friendly
say
motion.
so moved or so amended if you'd like.
So is someone offering an amendment to that?
Well, I'd like to offer a consideration as well.
Okay, so I won't make a motion yet, but I won't approve it unless I have something like that. So.
I have a question.
Councilman, go ahead.
Charlie, maybe I read the language differently.
Okay.
Because it says additional cost to be identified PSE. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have to approve payment of that, because that, I would assume, would be negotiated when they provide that bill. If
You would think that. That's not the approach they take. The approach is you sign this committing you to pay whatever costs are associated with this project.
Okay.
So arguably, yes, we could posit that was our position in signing, but they're fairly clear that no, that's not the intent.
that helps.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so I was thinking about this. Is it so templated that in the resolution, we wouldn't be able to remove in a couple places where it says with any additional cost to be identified by PSE?
My legal recommendation would be against putting the cap at the 43. That would hamstring staff to be able to close out the project in an efficient way. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And here's the other challenge to that is, now we've got PSC out there mobilized, and they demobilize, and they're gonna charge us to remobilize. So we've gotta have some latitude to get the work done once they get there, because they could start the project and there's something there that wasn't anticipated. You know, so.
Mayor, we also run the risk of our primary contractor demobilizing if they can't get the work concluded.
So we've got other work going on there that's subject to this. So, Councilmember Dedman, go ahead.
Was there any estimate that was thrown around in discussions?
43,000.
No, I said, oh, no, the 43, I meant additions in terms of additional costs, the estimates.
So we have a separate project for the upgrade to the Melcher Pump Station. The PSE portion is separate. It's something that we can't openly competitively bid for through our purchasing requirements.
Right, and to the question, I think the director mentioned that this overage tends to not be a great amount. It's usually, $5,000 if anything. But they want that cushion in order to ensure that they can charge us what they actually incur. But no, they don't ballpark it for us on an individual project basis.
Oh, yeah, just even the estimate right now that you said, I think is helpful.
And they're aware of our change order thresholds, so they know that we don't want to have to come back to council because of that.
Councilmember Rose Pepe?
No, I was just going to make the, note that we've already paid money into this. This is just an additional to this amount. So at this point in time, unless we want to put a cap on it, then I'm comfortable where we're at.
Councilmember Morrissey?
I was just going to go ahead and make the friendly amendment to cap it at 60.
So it'd be, you're making an amendment to cap it at 60.
Correct. Well, I'm proposing an amendment to cap it at 60.
Making an amendment, yeah.
Yes.
So we have an amendment on the table to cap this work at 6. And so we have a second on the amendment to cap this at 60. Discussion of the amendment. Anybody have any comments, questions? Okay.
I was just going to say, I feel like more than 20% should be sufficient, so.
Yes. We'll be talking if it's not. So we're voting on the amendment first, capping this at $60,000. All in favor of approving the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Now we're back to the main motion, which is the motion made by Councilmember Warden, I thought.
Yes, sir.
And Councilmember Eden, I think was the second, maybe. Somewhere around this side. So, which is for the work up to $43,897. All in favor of the main motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, the authorization to execute this has been approved. We're at item H now, which is the approval of amendment number 20 to contract number 066-20 with Rice Fergus Miller for the Community Event Center project. Mr. Bond, this is you.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and City Council. Amendment 20 to contract 6620 with Rice Fergus Miller would result in the design of a small stormwater pump station and water quality treatment facility within the Community Event Center and adjacent plaza grounds at a cost of $208,924. The proposed stormwater pump station and water quality improvements are part of the Downtown Basin Stormwater Upgrades Project listed in the 2023 Port Orchard Stormwater and Watersheds Comprehensive Plan. The project is also identified in the city's comprehensive plan. The project will serve the Community Event Center, the Orchard Street Plaza, and the Bay Street reconstruction projects. The proposed pump station would provide the ability to pump stormwater from the CEC and the plaza to Sinclair Inlet during king tides when stormwater would otherwise back up into the city's stormwater conveyance system and potentially cause puddling in the plaza and around the catch basin. The water quality facility is likely to be a modular wetland product that has Department of Ecology pre-approval. It is appropriate that this project be designed, bid, and installed as part of the Community Event Center and Orchard Street Plaza construction projects rather than trying to build the project in advance of building the plaza before the plaza design has been finalized or having to tear up the plaza to install the facility later. Note that there's a 12% markup for the subconsultants in the RFM scope and fee documents presented. The staff recommendation is approval of Amendment 20 to Contract 6620 as presented.
Councilmember Diener.
Mayor, I move to approve amendment number 20 to contract C06620 as presented.
Second.
A motion by Councilmember Diener, second by Councilmember Rosenpepe. We're rebuilding the street. That's going to solve the flooding issue in that section, but we still have all the water coming down the hill. And the other end of downtown has insufficient stormwater facilities. So what this allows us to do is grab all of that water, put it into this vault. And the last meeting I was in, versus having submersible pumps that don't get used very frequently, it's probably going to be a trailer mounted facility that we put there ahead of the king tide. We hook it all up, and then if the heavy rains come, then we're able to turn this pump system on and push the water out that's coming off the hill so that we don't flood the other half of downtown when we've solved the problem at one end. So that's kind of the story. And so Councilmember Diener.
Sure, I have a couple questions. The first is, I guess, based on what you just said, how rapid is that trailer hookup going to be?
Well,
Because it would be,
yeah, we would bring it down and test it.
and that's fine for what we know, but I'm thinking like, what if we don't anticipate something and we start to see impacts, like the hydraulic head is pushing it back, and would we ever get in that situation? Because the worst thing would be is if we did have flooding downtown.
It's going to be at our public works facilities. They were wanting to park it down there all winter, and I'm going, I don't want to see that thing sitting down there on the waterfront probably all winter. And these are known events. We know when the king tides come and when our outfalls are underwater. When our outfalls aren't underwater, the system works just fine. It's when we've got that extremely high tide, that's the problem. And then when you get the rains and there's no place for the water to go, that's what this is for, is to push that water out into the sound.
Okay, thank you for that confidence. My question for Nick is, tell us more about the engineered wetlands and where they're gonna be and how big they're gonna be, because that's new to the site, and where do we shoehorn this in?
Yeah, so we're looking at 3 different options for where these will be located, but right now it looks like the pump and the wetland system would be constructed at the northeast corner of the Community Event Center building, in where we already had some landscape areas planned. And I have a spec sheet on the wetland system that I can pull up here. I'm not logged into Zoom right now, so it would take me a minute to share, but I'm happy to email you the spec sheet on that system. And like I said, it has Department of Ecology pre-approval, so it's an approved method, and it's gone through that certification process, so it's widely used, and we think this is the best tool, but we still need to go through the design process, both to specify exactly what these pumps will be. We're leaning towards a trailer system, and we're leaning towards this wetland product, but that'll be finalized in this design.
Do you recall the surface footprint of the preferred alternative?
I think it's expandable, so it's like a modular system where you can add cells, I think is how it works. So it'll be sized appropriate for the amount of water that is coming through that system.
I can add to that. If you want to see one, on Buckland Hill in Silverdale, right before the bridge, there's a gravel lot there on the left-hand side behind Safeway. In the right-of-way, we have one there, as far as, my day job. There's one there as well. I can point you to some other ones. There isn't one in the south end I can think of, but Central they have a few there as well.
Maybe, Nick, you could send some pictures around to the council. Okay.
Yep. Go ahead, Councilor.
Nick, I know you're busy right now, but is this a new outfall that we're gonna?
No, we're specifically using the existing outfall because of the permitting challenges with trying to
that was my question.
Change the existing
swing
outfall.
That one, yeah. Okay, all right, cool. That's all I have.
Councilmember Morgan, go ahead.
I think it's some internal stuff for me to kind of wrap my head around, and I didn't get a chance to get this out ahead of time. This is for the Community Event Center.
It's for the Orchard Street Plaza and to solve the existing flooding condition we have on the remainder of Bay Street.
Okay, but we're amending the Community Event Center contract.
But the event center, the Orchard Street Plaza is also part of the Community Event Center's contract. Those are under one contract. So it's the Orchard Street Plaza is where this is at, and where it'll be located. But that is has been part of the Community Event Center contract with Rice Fergus Miller and that design team for both because our intent is to take both of those projects to bid at once.
Yes, but it's scope. So we're adding more money to a very large contract with Rice Fergus Miller. And don't get me wrong, I love my friends over at Rice Fergus Miller, but at what point am I going to stop seeing things be added here? Because I still don't 100% know how we're going to pay for it.
Well, we have to design it and know what we're building before we can figure out what we're paying for. So, and if we would have
So this was not part of the original scope? Was that an error on our side? They didn't tell us that it should be because they knew they were taking on this project? Where does that lie? Because we need to tidy up something somewhere.
So remember, the 2023 Watersheds and Comprehensive Plan for Downtown was only adopted in 2023. This contract is from 2020. So that project was identified after we were already in design. The project that we are designing now serves both the Community Event Center and the plaza, as well as Bay Street and the overall basin, but it is a project identified in the stormwater plan, in the city's comp plan, and we are choosing to design it now so that it can be all bid and constructed together. But this project didn't exist as a project when we originally went out for the CEC.
And so
Okay,
the challenge.
so that's where I think I get my misconception, because I'm seeing an amendment to an existing contract when this should be a separate project and a separate contract.
And it could have been, but it would have slowed we're trying to get that project finished in design. And if we went through a new procurement process and selected, we already had contractors, a design firm on, now we've got two different design firms, working in one project. It complicated things to not.
Complicates it both ways, right?
It does. There's
So,
complications both ways. You're right. And Nick's absolutely correct. This is a project that we didn't envision when the community center started.
Clarity now that I have it, but yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Councilmember Rose Pepe first. Then
No, yeah, I just, agree with John that this is, the scope of this is much greater than just a community center. And while I agree, Rice Fergus Miller is integrated significantly with the city, it's very tough to put our hands around right now within the whole community center project and the cost of the community center design. And I understand why we're not breaking it out, but it may not be as obvious to everybody else. So.
Our challenge too would have been, I think it's really bad government when you pave a road or build a road and then you come put a pipe in later. And that would have been the scenario, is we built this beautiful plaza and came back in and put a stormwater vault in it after the fact. And everybody's going, well, why didn't you think of that before you did it? And so that's where we're trying to rush this into here so that we get this design and get this in there, when we build the plaza and only build it once. So, Councilmember Devon?
Yeah, I just had a quick question. What's the difference between civil support and lift station design? Or I shouldn't say difference, but what does civil support encapsulate? Because if that's how the civil tasks are called out, and when it says civil support, and that's about 63,000, and then lift station design, that's about 103,000.
Are you on page 414 of the packet? Is that where you're looking?
Yeah, 416, yeah.
416. So this is on a document from KPFF, which is a sub-consultant to RFM. They're the civil engineer on the design project. And so this is their scope of work, just describing the meetings that will take place, the design constraints, modeling, designing a flow splitter, and you're asking the difference between the civil support?
Yeah, I guess
and what else?
if it was called out, because we're talking about paying for a design, but this says civil support, so I guess I was just wanting a
civil
better
engineering.
sense of
It's
what.
a civil engineering design.
Okay, so civil support means civil engineering versus lift station design is like the architecture? Is that your understanding?
The lift station design is what we're designing. The civil is who's designing it, I think. I don't know if
Well,
there's a better
I
way
guess
to-
I can just ask a little bit, if I can get a little bit more understanding, only because I think when things are called out, people just want to know where the money's going. And if we're talking about a design, this thing that says civil support, like what it's called out different than the design itself. So just having, from my perspective, it'd be nice for people to be able to understand what that means.
Design. What lift station?
I'm going to jump in. I don't want to make assumptions, but when it comes to lift station design, there's going to be specialty engineering, pump mechanics, and making sure. I'm anticipating the civil support is going to be the additional survey, the design around this amenity. And this is also providing, really want to be clear that it's providing treatment for all of Bay Street that we're reconstructing. As part of our federal funding, we cannot do the storm treatment with this because it's in the footprint. So this is providing stormwater treatment to this major outfall that's been identified that needs treatment.
So saying
Tying
back,
it together would be the civil support.
saying back what I think I heard is the design is for the specialty needs of that particular design, and the civil support is everything that you would take that and drop it into the ground and make sure that's an engineered vault or what have you, all of that normal civil stuff.
That's my understanding.
Makes sense.
Are we calling a vault and a pump a lift station? I mean, that's what it is. I mean,
It could become a lift station. The last meeting I was at, we were moving away from that, and it was more pipe engineering, the treatment, a vault, and the plumbing related to that. And then basically your lift station's on a trailer, the pump aspect. Yeah, and that's the direction we're leaning towards.
It's a vault. It's not.
It's a vault, but yeah, the pump aspect could be there in a vault, or it could be on a trailer. And right now we're leaning towards a trailer because this gets used, unlike a traditional lift station that runs every day. Yeah, this will get ran 5 times a year, and sitting in a vault, all of a sudden, we come down to turn it on, or it's on floats and we expect it to turn on and it doesn't. So we want to have hands on this, bring the trailer down, test it, make sure it works, because it's going to get used so infrequently, but it's vital that it works, on the day that it needs to work.
What are we voting on?
The design contract for
a vault
of the vault, the plumbing, and the stormwater system, the treatment system associated with it.
And then we'll.
Or $208,000, right?
Correct.
And then we'll purchase the pump.
That'll be become, I believe, part of the Orchard Street Plaza construction project, building the vault, building the stormwater street treatment system, and purchasing whatever pump is necessary to operate this.
The 166 is okay. I'm following you, but.
And this design is taken into consideration that in 20 years, if we can't keep up with pumping, that we could automate it in this vault, and we'll have the conduit for future if we do run the power.
Question, if you say it's on a trailer, does that mean we can move it around if we need that pump station for
A pump, it's just a pump, it's a pump. It's a
pump.
mobile pump.
Can we move that mobile pump other places than just downtown?
We could, yeah. But there's 6 or 7 days a year where we have to have it down here, yeah. All right, further questions, comments? All right, you'll be voting to approve amendment number 20 to contract number 066-20 with Rice Fergus Miller for the Community Event Center project. All in favor, please say aye.
Real quick, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
This is no materials, nothing, straight
It's
design.
a design, it is the design
Just the design. And
of the treatment facility, the plumbing, and the vault, and whatever pump system is necessary for it. Is that correct, Mr. Bond?
That's correct. And the modular wetland, designing the modular wetland system, I believe, would have to do a stormwater report associated with that. And I wanted to remind everyone that because it's in the stormwater plan from 2023, and it's part of our CFC calculation, this is paid for with stormwater CFC dollars, not with funds that are otherwise tied to the community event center. So stormwater is paying for this, and they would pay for the construction and procurement when the time comes for the pump.
So we're using storm rates.
We're using stormwater CFC, capital dollars.
And another question, you got Rice and Fergus, the Miller, they design our community center, but I guess they're experts in this, designing this as well, our
There's
pump.
KPFF, the sub-consultant is. Yeah, yes. Okay. Any further questions? Yes, sir.
I think maybe there's still some confusion about design and civil service, or civil service.
Civil support.
Sorry, civil support,
Yeah,
thank
civil
you.
support.
So I see on page 216 where you have the tasks and the dollar amounts, but civil support and the civil design are described further up in the scope of work. So the scope of work starts out with additional civil support, and then it moves into the civil lift station design. And so I think those might be just different teams within KPFF. Potentially the team that is designing the wetland system is different than the team that is designing the pump station. I think that's probably it, but there's quite a bit of description on pages 213 and 214 of what is included in each of those tasks.
And there is overlap, I noticed, between those two groups. One seems to be a subset of the other. So we can provide feedback to them about their form documents that in the future we'd like to make sure that those are more clearly delineated as well.
Morrissey?
Yeah, so it just kind of dawned on me thinking about this because it's still making the inside of my brain itch that we're keeping this under the Community Event Center. However, I have a question as it relates to the contract with the Kitsap Public Facilities District because there's a match portion.
It doesn't play a part in it
It
all.
will not. So even
Not at
pulling this out of CFC, so it really doesn't make sense. That makes my brain itch more. I thought maybe I'd find a reason to keep it in here, but okay.
It's about
How do we-
delivering on it timely is really, and we already under contract with KPFF as a sub-consultant designing our road, and it's keeping one engineering firm without duplicating things and paying a second firm to replicate work when one firm is already down there designing multiple facets of this.
So I think I'm going to go ahead and vote yes, but it's not a happy yes. So I just think that I just want to make sure that's heard and known that this really should have been a separate project. I understand some of your reasoning, but yeah.
I hear
I'm going
you.
to leave it there.
Yeah, I kind of concur with that, just because we're paying Rice and Ferguson to be the major contract, and they get money for being the subcontractor. Is that correct? And they're not even doing anything.
They're the prime contractor, not the subcontractor.
Yeah.
But their job is to manage, to make sure, we've got a road project, a community center project, and a community events, and a plaza, and they all need to mesh together. And all of these pipes need to connect to themselves properly, otherwise it doesn't work right. Otherwise, and then we end up paying another firm, then it does become repetitive. So it's about keeping the relationship and the marriage to all three of these projects together so that they work properly together, and all of the plumbing and electrical and things of that nature. So that's the logic behind it. So, all right. We ready? Are we ready? So, are you prepared to vote on this? We're voting on the approval of amendment number 20 to contract number 66-20 with Rice Fergus Miller for the Community Event Center project. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Hearing none, the amendment has been approved. We're to item I. Approval of amendment number 7 to contract number 053-19 with, is it Trapeze Engineering? Terraphase Engineering, Inc., for the ESSB, that's almost like an IPA, isn't it? 6091 Foster Pilot Project Services. Mr. Ryan, this is you.
Thank you. So just a little bit background on the Foster Pilot Project. For the last decade, the city of Port Orchard's been in the process of pursuing water rights that will secure water rights for the city of Port Orchard for the next several decades. It will help us keep up with growth and the amount that the city is growing. Originally, Terraphase was known as Robinson Noble. We approved in September of 2019 the Foster Pilot Project Services, where we brought them on for streamflow augmentation restoration studies, evaluating net ecological benefits and hydrological analysis, all requirements of the Foster Pilot Project. Multiple time and ongoing funding amendments approved since 2020. This was addressed in the recent budget adoption. We put in for an additional $250,000. This is well below that. We do anticipate some additional funding that will be needed for legal services. We hope to have the revised draft mitigation to the Department of Ecology. We've been actively meeting with our tribal partners and the Department of Ecology, and we expect that to be submitted in the first quarter. So again, this amendment is for an additional $148,000 for a new total of $772,348.
Councilmember Trenary.
I move to authorize the mayor to execute amendment number 7 to contract number C053-19 with Terra Phase Engineering, Inc. for ESSB 6091 Foster Pilot Project Services with a new contract total of $772,348.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Trenary, second by Councilmember Fenton. Any questions for Mr. Ryan? Go ahead, Councilmember Rosebud.
No, I only have one comment that I hope I live long enough to see the Foster Pilot Program implemented here in the city, because when we started this, we were one of 5 cities to go forward with it, and here we are today. So keeping my fingers crossed we get closer.
It predates me as the mayor. It's been painful. So, Councilmember Diener.
So on page 429, it talks about reasons for the change order. And it says additional time spent developing the mitigation plan following the loss of the Blackjack Creek Mitigation Bank and then the Kim Dam options. I was just wondering if you could explain a little bit about those. I don't think I've heard an explanation about why those weren't selected or why they failed.
So in my time with the city, prior to my time, there was some mitigation opportunities that were explored, and the dam project wasn't available for partnership any longer. The Blackjack Creek, I'm not sure of this history, why that went away. It might have been overcommitted to. We did pursue other mitigations in Kitsap. There's only one mitigation banking opportunity available in Kitsap, but it doesn't have its Department of Ecology permit in place, so the Department of Ecology turned that one down as well. So we've been going up against these things that they anticipated would be available almost 10 years ago when they started this. They were no longer available. We had to find alternate sites, and that has to do with the evaluation of those for net ecological benefits. Also, the negotiations with the tribe of where they want augmentation and where they don't want augmentation. That's one of the big discussion topics right now with the Suquamish is where our augmentation point is, so we have to go through that full evaluation.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Devon.
I look at this, there's something about required revision regarding delays if the Kitsap Mitigation Umbrella Bank is used. What, so can you explain to me what that is? Because it's talking about delay, possible.
429.
The increase in pay is because of some kind of delays.
So she's
Sorry,
referencing.
let me read it again. I apologize.
Let's
Page
find him spot.
429.
Yeah, yeah.
And it says the primary reasons for this change order request. So, so 2 was extra time for unanticipated meetings. And then number 3 was talking, because sorry, you had mentioned the tribes. So it was talking about the Department of Ecology and 2 tribes, particularly regarding delays if the Kitsap Mitigation Umbrella Bank is used. Can you explain that a little bit more?
It's very similar to what I just stated about the Kitsap Mitigation Bank. We went through an evaluation period. We submitted that to the Department of Ecology. It took I think it was over a month before they would respond. We had to pay a fee for the application that was submitted for the draft. So there was a long delay. It was ruled that we couldn't proceed with that. There's also, I mean, I don't want to say there's been a lot of dead ends, but we've gone through opportunities where we were looking to work with Bremerton for augmentation points. They weren't feasible because the infrastructure wasn't in place. And so it's going down many routes to get where we need.
Questions? Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I just had a question. So we're extending this contract. To the best of your present knowledge, how much longer do you think this will go on?
So the
5
first
years ago?
we are. I'm very optimistic. The mayor sat in a meeting with West Sound for augmentation points that we need on Mile Hill. They seem receptive. We're going to do a presentation to their full council. That's one piece. We have ongoing conversation with the Suquamish. We're meeting very regular now, which wasn't happening a few years ago. So that is getting very close. We have a follow-up meeting in 2 weeks. We've engaged the Squaxin, who is the other tribal partner that we're working with. That's going to be tough because some of the areas of what they want to see augmentation aren't feasible and are not possible for us to get to. We hope to submit that revised mitigation plan to the Department of Ecology. They have been paid where they will process it and they will evaluate it. They want to see all parties that are affected through the water rights to be whole and satisfied. And so if all parties are not satisfied, they will have to make a determination. And ultimately, it could be pursued in legal courts.
Okay, thank you for that response.
So one agency, only Yelm, of the 5 cities, has successfully gotten their water rights through the foster approval at this point.
All started 10 years ago.
We're about third as far as. There's another city, I wish I knew the name of it. They're very close, a little closer than we are, but I see a finish line.
So does that mean maybe by the end of this year, or my finish line, you should expect another 5 years of this, council member? Or somewhere in between? Like, even if you're wrong, I don't hesitate to be wrong. I just need a good, educated guess.
It's encouraging that we're having regular communication, because prior to this last year, we weren't getting that. And so we were doing, the approach was different. They weren't telling us what they wanted. And we had to design things, and then we would present it. That's not what we want. Well, what do you want? And we wouldn't get told what we, and so things are more collaborative now. That's encouraging, and we've always wanted them to be. But we're not in control of this process, obviously. And ecology makes us satisfy everybody before the.
I hear that, right? Like, so again, I'm trying to get at a point where I can go back and I will spend, I don't know how many days down with our state legislator, understanding. You constantly talk about why affordability crisis is in this state, and here's just another prime reason why we continue to have affordability crisis throughout our state. And here we are as a body of 7 that feel like we're completely helpless because we can do nothing more to help this go along, right? So I need to be able to give some of that feedback. So
we've gone from receiving no's. It was a systematic no that we were hearing from everybody that we were negotiating with or having conversations with, where we are preparing to enter into the process where we will be negotiating memorandum of understanding agreements. And we've already engaged Inslee's Best and then our water rights attorney. We have these documents prepared. We're at the point where my peers at the tribes and other agencies, we're bringing these opportunities to their council and boards where they can consider it.
So to your point though, about there's 5 of us, okay? There's 281 cities in our state, and multiple times I've been down in Olympia talking about this very issue, and it falls on not with our delegation, but with many others, because until it affects more cities than 5 of us, it's just not getting a lot of traction, and it's unfortunate.
But we can't be unique right? Either they quit monitoring something that the only 5 municipalities throughout the entire state would be affected. So either we need to go back and say, hey, we were wrong about this back then, or we need to be pushing back. Why aren't more people joining this list? Nobody's, I
haven't
shouldn't say
needed water
nobody,
rights
a majority of cities are not going down in population in the state, right? So help me understand how other communities aren't running into these issues.
Because they haven't needed water rights yet. And when they do, this is a court case.
So in 20 years, no cities needed any water rights?
They
They're
likely had them.
closed. So the legislature created a pilot program creating a path for water rights, and only 5 cities were admitted. No other city can even apply for water rights right now because it is closed.
I wish you would have worded it, what would happen first, Foster or Community Center and Pathway? Like, things that we can actually relate to, you know?
So the answer is there's no answer. Or we have no even guess.
We will have the draft mitigation revised and submitted to the state for
this year. And whether it's opposed?
Yeah,
or
no,
supported.
that's fair, right? Like our body of work will be done this year. Okay, that's
Okay,
a fair.
That is our plan.
Thank you.
Yes.
And
Councilmember Rosebebe.
I will say from serving on Utilities Committee that the city has done their end in everything. It's been basically going uphill every time. I mean, you remember that, you know, when we were looking at our water tables, you know, originally it was just the Suquamish tribe, and then now we have the Squaxin tribe. So it's like added another layer to this process. And I'm not trying to make excuses for anybody. I'm just saying the city has done their due diligence. Unfortunately, it's trying to get everybody back to respond. That's all. I'm
with you, Councilmember, because if you recall, the USGS came here and told us that, or actually, it was a contractor that came in and told us that the USGS gets these water tables things wrong more than they get it right, and that we probably shouldn't even be in this list of 5 cities at the moment, was my takeaway from their comments. So,
All right, I'm going to rein this in and try to get us to vote on, if there's no further questions, to approve the amendment number 7 to contract number 5319 with Terraphase Engineering, Inc. for the Foster Pilot Project Services. All in favor, please say aye.
aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, the amendment is approved. We are to the chief now. He sat patiently over there, and which is the approval of a memorandum of agreement with Blue Bridge Alliance. Chief Brown, take it away.
Yeah, Mayor and council members, thank you. I'm very excited to bring this forward to you tonight. So the Blue Bridge Alliance is a 501c3 that delivers rapid on-the-spot aid to individuals in urgent need by equipping trained law enforcement officers with preloaded debit cards. The goal of this short-term assistance is to help those who are struggling and meet them where they are. The Blue Bridge Alliance works with nearly 60 Washington state law enforcement agencies, including the Washington State Patrol and King County Sheriff's Office. And locally, they have aligned with the Bremerton Police Department and the Suquamish Police Department. And I will say that since this was submitted, they've added 5 more, so they're at about 65 agencies statewide. The Port Orchard Police Department intends to partner with the Blue Bridge Alliance to empower officers to provide compassionate aid, strengthening the bonds between law enforcement and our community. All participating officers will receive formal training to ensure proper use of the program resources. The program will be overseen by a deputy chief who will conduct regular audits to ensure compliance. And in addition to internal audits, the Blue Bridge Alliance will independently review the program to maintain transparency and accountability. Funding for the program relies exclusively on direct donations to the Blue Bridge Alliance. No city funding will be used, permitted, or commingled with donated resources. The police department intends to integrate fundraising into its outreach events, providing citizens with the opportunity to contribute. This approach responds to a long-standing community interest in supporting public safety and assisting our neighbors in times of need. The police department has drafted a policy based upon best practices and the experiences of those agencies already engaged with the program. Legal has reviewed this policy and approved its implementation. So tonight, staff recommends the council approve the mayor to sign a memorandum of agreement with Blue Bridge Alliance.
Councilmember Warden.
I move to authorize the mayor to sign a memorandum of agreement with Blue Ridge Alliance.
Second.
A motion by Councilmember Warden, a second by Councilmember Fenton. Any questions for the chief? Go ahead.
Why wasn't this a consent agenda item?
I felt it important to bring it so that the public could also
Oh,
hear
you,
it.
you wanted that?
Yeah, I wanted it.
Oh,
in
okay.
business.
No worries at all. No
I
worries
like
at all.
that.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer, of why not to approve it. So
yes,
it's
sir.
kinda no dollars or, and I appreciate you bringing that to the community. That's terrific. So.
100%.
Councilman Medina?
Actually, I think Jay might have beat
Go
me
ahead,
to it.
Councilman Roosevelt.
No, I just wanted to say thank you, Chief, for bringing this forward, because I know numerous council members and numerous citizens have asked how they could donate to the program so that officers weren't using their own money. And looking at this online and everything and the number of organizations, this is a program I think everybody can buy into and will help the officers and help our community. So thank you.
You're welcome.
I think this is great too. I've talked to you about something like this in the past and how we can help, and I would challenge my peer council members to donate maybe $100 each just to help seed this in our area. But I'm curious, what are the sheltering costs that we're seeing for people who are in need of overnight sheltering?
Sheltering costs, I mean, the cost if we were to get them a motel room?
Yeah.
I haven't looked at our local motel room rates lately. We do have the ability with these cards, because it's going to be over $100, but they can work with a supervisor or contact the command duty officer, who's either myself or one of the deputy chiefs, and they can take both of the cards and fund. But the vast majority of what we are seeing statewide tends to be food, sundries, clothing, blankets. I've got friends in another department where, they respond to an apartment and the kids are sleeping on the floor, so they grab their team and they go buy some mattresses and bring the mattresses and groceries and things like that. So a lot more like that than putting people up in housing.
Sure. The one thing that I was a little surprised by is what I seem to think is high overhead for a low footprint project, 10%. But it is what it is. I just was, 10% is a lot of money, if I'm understanding the program.
It is 10%. We did look at that. A lot of programs that have overhead, that are charities that are very similar, have a 20% overhead cost. This was designed, if you guys are familiar with Ken Hohenberg, he was a 35-year chief, I believe in Pasco, that helped start this program up. And it's really been a passion project of his to keep the overhead down so that the vast majority, which is 90% of the donated funds, go back into the communities that provide them. Some of the startup costs, it's an iPad and the ability to run the program so that they can do their audits and we can do our audits, but I think that it is negligible compared to some of the other organizations and social groups that are working.
Okay, thanks. It's good to hear that.
Mm-hmm. Councilmember Morrissey?
Good to hear that there are audits, right? So my inner banker comes out right now, and I'm thinking about gift cards. It's just like cash, right? They're treated like that. Is there any? Is it burdensome? Any other regulatory or requirements for that audit, or are there worries that any of our officers would be at risk for any type of allegation of misuse or anything like that?
I don't think you can ever say that there's 0% of misuse. I can tell you I came from a department where I had a fellow officer stealing from the children of my 4 dead friends, and we turned him in. In this state, I'll tell you right now, if anyone steals from this program, they'll be arrested and then they get decertified. So not only are they fired, decertified, but they're probably going to go to jail. That being said, we have strong ethics, morals, values downstairs, and I have zero concern with this program. The auditing, they take a photograph of the receipt. They fill out a little form on their cell phone through the app that's internal. That goes to the deputy chiefs. Deputy chiefs will, about once a week, will audit that. And there's also audits conducted by Blue Bridge to make sure that both audits are the same. In the years that they've been doing this, they have not had a single issue.
Excellent. Last question. What neighboring jurisdiction is already participating?
Bremerton has
They
been
are?
doing it for a number of months. Squamish has been doing it. There's quite a few along the I-5 corridor. Sumner PD, I'm close with the deputy chief over there. They've been doing it for a while. Several more up north, but it really started over on the east side of the mountains because it was, like I said, the former chief of Pasco, Ken Hohenberg, started it up. But it's been highly, highly successful, and in thousands of interactions, there has not been a single auditing issue.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Diener?
So with its approval tonight, when do you expect to go live?
I would say within the next 2 weeks.
Okay, great.
Further questions? All right, you'll be voting on a memorandum of agreement with Blue Bridge Alliance. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the MOU is approved. The next three items are all meeting minutes, and the reason they're on the business item is that none of you were absent, but we have a new council member, so that's why they're on there. So the first item, item K, is approval of the November 25th council regular meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve? Councilmember Rosepepe?
Mayor, I move to approve the meeting minutes as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the November 25th meeting minutes. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
Any opposed? And we are to item L now, approval of the December 9th regular council meeting minutes. Councilmember Trenary?
Yeah, Mayor, I move to approve the December 9th, 2025 City Council regular meeting minutes.
Second.
Got a bunch of seconds over there.
Second.
You'll be voting on the December 9th meeting minutes. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And one abstention. We're to item M, December 16th meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of Tuesday, December 16th, 2025 as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the December 16th meeting minutes. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And one abstention. We are to now item N, which was consent item D, which is adoption of a resolution adopting a personnel policy related to bilingual pay. And we typically would have a motion on the table before we discuss. Is there a motion to approve? Okay, she'll give, oh, maybe we want a staff report.
Either way.
Okay.
Good evening. Starting with the police skill contract in 2024, the City Council expressed interest in establishing a bilingual premium for employees fluent in Spanish, Tagalog, Korean, or American Sign Language. Tonight, earlier in the Teamster contracts, you approved similar language under those contracts. So that leaves our non-represented employees. This proposed policy would be implemented for those employees. The proposed rate of pay is identical to what you have already approved under the union contracts. So the motion is for approval, and I'm here to answer questions.
Mayor, I move to adopt a resolution establishing a new policy relating to bilingual pay.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Rosepepe, a second by Councilmember Morrissey to approve. And questions or comments?
No, comment is strongly support this. I've seen this at other organizations, governmental and private, and it's a great inducement to get people to join your organization and does help with being able to communicate throughout the, not only the organization, but with the public. So strongly endorse this.
Councilmember Morrissey?
Thank you, Ms. Lund. I appreciate your work getting this done. I believe it was me who might have indicated that in a prior session. And that's due to my time working at other large institutions where you never know when you need somebody to do some translating services. And there might be just that one person who we always know can do that. Then they can't do their regular job because if we're always bothering that person. So I said, if we're only doing that for the police code, why don't we do that for everybody in the city? So I know, I believe there's some policy around proving your fluency and that kind of stuff. So I'm all for it. Thank you for taking my suggestion and running with it.
Councilmember Dedman.
I guess my question or my concern goes as to, I think it's bilingualism is awesome and that having people that are bilingual is awesome. But my concern is a lack of language around tying bilingualism to increased constituent accessibility to city services. So I say that because y'all might know I'm from LA. And so LAUSD loves to give out bilingual pay, and somebody might collect a check and never have to speak another language in their life on the job site at all. And the school district's just paying out that money. And obviously, as a city council person, I don't want that for my city. I don't want my city to have to keep paying out if that ability is not actually being used. Has there been any discussions about that, about including language where there's a nexus to actually this bilingualism actually being used on the job, like I said, to actually increase city accessibility?
That's why these 4 languages were chosen under the police contract, as we asked the officers, what do you need? What are you seeing? Who are you interacting with out there? And that's where these 4 languages came from. They were identified by the police officers as the people they're encountering.
Yeah, and I think for me, just to hone in on what I'm asking, for the police officers, absolutely. But if there is somebody who, let's say, is not, for lack of a better word, client-facing, facing outwards so that, again, there is a use of the language. It seems that right now, the way it's written, there's just a blanket approval that, let's say somebody works after hours and doesn't really have any interaction, that if they get certified in bilingualism, that they would then have an increase in pay. Does that sound accurate?
All of our non-union employees, and perhaps this will help you, are 8 to 5, 8 to 4:30. So everybody here is in an office setting that would be impacted by this policy. And we do, as Councilmember Morrissey said, we know who, for example, our Spanish speakers are, and they will get pulled from one department into another just to help. I know of folks that just pull up Google Translate and try to make it work at the counter, but these are all folks that would be here during normal business hours.
Okay, and so it goes without saying that the language would say something about you are bilingual, and if your services are needed, they will in fact be required to be used. Like that falls under their duties.
Yeah, it's not like we're signing a contract with them, but I get your point, and that's something we could certainly pursue if we ever thought that we were not getting the benefit of it. Knowing our employee group, I just would not imagine that happening at this time.
Councilmember Fenton, go ahead.
And kind of to piggyback off of that, because it says right now we only have 2 representative employees. What departments are those employees from? And I mean, I know I get the police people out there with all the community, but we're right here. So I'm kind of curious about our population of people coming to city council, and then we're going to pay. And I'm surprised we're gonna do the same thing as the Teamster, instead of do our own thing in the city of employment to get extra money on that if you are bilingual. And so anyway, so my first question is, who are those employees that are wanting to get that extra pay?
When I rolled out the policy to city employees, just to get their feedback, like I always do, I had an employee from our community development department and an employee from our finance department express interest. And part of it was, tell me if you're interested so we can let our testing vendor know what kind of volume might be coming their way. And so those were the 2 departments.
Are they tested, or how do they get tested that they're bilingual?
There's an outside testing company. We pay a small fee. The employee makes an appointment, and Chief Brown's had somebody in his department already do this, so correct me if I'm wrong, Chief. They schedule a virtual appointment. There's something like 100 languages this particular testing company will test for. You schedule the appointment, you meet virtually with that examiner, and they kind of just have a conversation. The examiner, I'm sure, has a checklist they're working through to make sure you know the proper whatevers. But it's just a dialogue, right? They're just kind of seeing how proficient you are. I'm sure they have some scripted questions that they have to ask just to make sure you really do or don't know the language well enough. And then they score that, and we get the score.
Is it all right if I add something?
Please.
So there's a little bit additional to that. So it starts off with conversational, and then it gets into more technical and higher level conversation, as opposed to how was your day today, where's the bathroom? And I believe it's a scale of 1 to 6 in the, don't quote me on that, but there's a number of, there are a number of categories, and so and I can't remember exactly where we said our mark was, but you had to meet a certain mark before you were going to be able to be granted that language pay, so that you had a level of efficiency and proficiency, so that when you're talking to the community, our speaker is a native speaker, so obviously he scored very high, but the goal is that it's not, I went to college and I took 2 semesters of Spanish and therefore I can be proficient. There is a legally recognized testing framework that we would be using.
Gordon, did you have?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Devin?
I realize it's late, so I'm just going to ask one more question about this because I just want to understand the parameters. Let's say somebody is out on, maybe a police officer is out, and I have to ask, are these I guess translators available to city council? That's a question I'm going to throw out there as I'm thinking about it. If you are out there and a police officer is speaking to somebody who speaks Korean, do they call the person, let's say in finance, who speaks Korean, do they call them up and say, hey, we need a translator? Like, how does that work, that somebody in finance is getting bilingual pay? Like, I just want to understand how that would work.
At this point, we've not done this. So the native speakers, as in the case of the police department, we have one other native Spanish speaker, and everybody here knows that. So when they're encountering a customer, yes, they call him in, and he just does that. He'll put things in writing. He'll do a lot of things to help the customer understand what's going on. I envision that for this, not knowing really how many people will take advantage of it. I don't know if we'll need to publish a list yet, just make it known to our front counter staff. I haven't really thought through how all of that's gonna come about. I had somebody ask, what happens if all of the employees here in this department get it? It's like we celebrate, right? That'd be so amazing. And especially to have a variety of languages. So to be determined, I think, a little bit. At the end of the day, the people right here in City Hall, we're not that big of a number. And so intuitively, people kind of know things. We have an employee inclusion commission. We could push messages out through that as well.
Thank you.
That's Martina.
I just want to say I have a little bit of experience with this. I think that the benefits for the police are quite obvious, but where my experience is with a DCD that has a certified Spanish translator who helps people with applications. And obviously, it's great help when they're coming in and they need to understand the application process. But there's also a real downstream benefit from that, which is they understand the process better. Hopefully, they're coming in with fewer resubmittals. We can point out that you need a wetlands report, and they're like, well, that's out of my wheelhouse. I got to walk away from that now, or I don't have the budget for that. So thank you very much. So I think there are some real life examples of how that can be helpful and reduce barriers, not just in the communication sense.
Councilmember Sherry?
Yeah, I just want to make a quick statement. I just want to point out that what we're talking about here today getting ready to vote on, is trying to bring our non-union employees up to the same benefit level as our union employees. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
Right. And I think that's a fair and equitable way of treating our non-union employees. They should get the same benefits. They're providing us the same value, so they should receive these same benefits that our union employees are getting.
Well said.
Can I just
Councilman
add
Fenn?
one? Yeah, sorry, thanks. I think I breathed in some air. Can we do like a year pilot and see how many employees and how it was beneficial? And then maybe revisit this next year just to see how well this went for the city employees, helping with another language for people coming in.
That's certainly within your prerogative, if you'd like to do that, yes.
All right, you'll be voting on adoption of a resolution, adopting a personnel policy related to bilingual pay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Hearing none, the resolution passes. We don't have any discussion items. We don't have any committee reports because, do we?
Yes, we do. The meeting that you were not at, the council asked that we have an outside that we include Kitsap Transit, because even though a lot of our business is routine, it keeps it. So I gave a report last time on that. And just to let you know, we did meet Kitsap Transit. The two items of note were we did a procurement for additional buses this time. And the board is having a discussion at our Tuesday meeting on goals for 2026. So.
Correct.
All right. So.
Okay, what I was going to add in the committee time, remember with the work study, you guys will be selecting your committee assignments. What's that?
We're not doing it tonight?
We're doing it tonight.
We're not doing it tonight.
Okay.
It's on tomorrow on the work study agenda. I saw the length of this agenda and went that process will take us 30 plus minutes probably.
Okay.
And so I'm just encouraging you all, think about what committees you want to be on.
So can I just throw something out there, right? So that means we won't have any committee meetings again in January. We didn't have any in December. Do we need committees? If we're not going to meet for 2 months in a row, can we just say, let's get rid of committees? Because I think I heard Polsbo did such a thing.
It's your prerogative. I think there is value to having those, and many times we cancel them when we don't have, and if there was a need to meet in January on topics, we would convene the existing committees, because you haven't, and then we would have asked Councilmember Dedman to serve in the capacity and when former Councilmember Chang's seat, and that's happened in the past. But staff has not advocated that we had any, the transportation was earlier tonight. So that's we can discuss that next week. If you guys don't want to have committees, we can discuss that.
Yeah, and I was just going to offer, I can provide information about the various structures, because every city does it slightly differently. So if the full council is interested in that information, I'm happy to provide that.
So should you want committees, where I was going with that is our traditional processes, you guys each submit your ranked 1, 2, 3 where you want to be. We try to slot everybody in their first choice. Where there's more than 3 council members in a first choice, then you guys vote on which 3 of the 3, 5, 7 council members get to serve on that committee. So staff and I were going to prepare, prepare for that, but we can always not do that at the work study and have other discussions at the work study around committees in that time frame. So, but we've got time set aside. We've got a presentation from Rice Fergus Miller on the community center. I know we've got the committee work, and I think there's one other item that escapes me off the top of my head. So it's a fairly full agenda on that work study, but I just didn't feel we would be effective this evening trying to put that into tonight's meeting too.
Did you want to discuss?
That's on my mayor's report. Yes, sir. That was, so I just hadn't gotten to my mayor's report, yes, but yes, thank you. So that was committees, and thank you, Jay, for adding that one. Now we're to the mayor's report, and that was the first item on my mayor's report. So first I want to start with thanking Eric and John for the conversation we had around the town hall style meeting that was at the conclusion of our last council meeting, and I believe you reconsidered your positions related to that and are willing to have a inclusive process, and that was actually the third item on the agenda that I'd forgotten. Is that very item is on the work study agenda to talk about that as far as format, locations, and all of that. So that is on the agenda for next week also. So it was my understanding that you weren't going to have that meeting later this week. And so okay. Anything else to add on that, Eric, John? Anybody else? I've got it on the work study. It's one of our topics, and so come prepared.
I'll just preserve any comments for next week.
Perfect. Okay. We had a dedication last week for our new Public Works building. I wish more. It was probably one of the best things I've done in my 10 years as the mayor. Recognizing Red Lumsden. Unfortunately, Red Lumsden was, he passed away at Christmas, so he wasn't there. Which was kind of a bummer, but the whole family was there. It was a very touching moment. Red was and RV Associates, they created our industrial park, and it wouldn't be there without his vision. And so it was a fabulous opportunity to recognize him. We've got a phenomenal, our Public Works Department we got some talented individuals. Drive by there and look at that plaque that's mounted on the wall. It's got a silhouette of Red on it that the family says looks just like him. So it was really a fabulous event, and the building is really taking shape. One thing we're waiting on is KPUD to install our fiber so we can have computers out there. So maybe like the first week of February before that happens. We're having some challenges in our engineering department. We had already a vacancy in one of our 4 engineering positions. We've got an engineer out on medical leave right now, and the engineer that we thought that was on military leave, we thought possibly he was coming back this month, and he just informed us that his duty has been extended for an additional year. So we have 1 engineer right now, and of 4. So that's challenging. Dennis is working on a scope for a contract for contract services that we'll be bringing later this month. I would like to, while we won't be paying a 5th engineer, so we're recruiting for 1 right now. I'd like to recruit for 2 in the hopes of getting fully staffed in the engineering department. And then a year from now, we might have to have a conversation if this other person ever does come back from the military leave. We have to hold their job for how many years? 5 years. I'm not certain if he is coming back, but we've got to have enough people. So we would bring back a resolution allowing us to amend the organizational chart to have 1 more engineer, but we would only have budget to fill 4 positions.
I think that answered the question right there. So doesn't require a budget amendment because we're staying within budget. Yeah. It's just the number of people. Is that correct, or?
I'll defer to Noah what that looks like.
Both, they're correct. Yeah, it will require a budget amendment because in the salary table, we specify the number of FTEs we have. So we'll actually add the count, but financially, we only fund 4.
So that would be very similar to when we're down in the police department. I mean, we're recruiting people, but we're always short recruit, but we have to go to our FTE on that. Thank you.
Similar, but not quite the same.
Not quite the same, but similar.
But yeah, so anyway, anybody have any concerns with that?
Mark? No, we consider a reserve an FTE. Somebody's out on duty.
He's on our payroll.
I do not believe the reserve officers are in our salary table. as an
About
FTE.
reserve police officers, or are you talking about?
You're talking about reserve police officers?
Reservist.
Reservists.
Yeah, I do not believe they're in our FTE table.
You're talking about police officers or the military reserve? You're not understanding the question.
Military reserve.
We have to count him.
Okay, sorry, I thought you were talking about the police reserve officers.
No,
So can you state that again?
Military reserve officers, this engineer that's on duty.
Cody, we have to count him in our FTE
Yes, we
count.
have to count him. We have to keep him. Yep.
We have to hold, we don't have to compensate him all, but we have to hold his job for up to 5 years. So, okay.
And pay him 21 days a year.
Oh, do we?
Yes.
Oh,
So
boy.
he gets paid.
21 days.
Just to clarify, we thought he was coming back, right? So he had orders that were going to expire in February, so he's certainly in the table because we thought he was coming back. He then got orders to extend that for another year. So that could roll for 5 years, right? We're subject to what the military needs him to do. But Washington state laws, you pay your reservist 21 days a year, and that clock starts October 1st every year, and that's 21 working days. So he gets paid 21 days in October, and then that bucket ends and he goes back in unpaid status.
Oh, so one time out of the month, he gets paid for 21 days. Is that correct?
21 days of the calendar year, he gets his full salary.
Yeah, he's a month pay.
Thank you, RCW.
I'm not hearing any objections, and by the end of the month, I'll have Noah bring, but it's just so that when we're out recruiting for one engineer, I'd like to find two. We've got to get staffed because it's affecting our work. Back to the committee. So while I rarely miss meetings, I do need an alternate for Puget Sound Regional Executive Board and Kitsap Regional Coordinating Council and Kitsap 911. So if anybody wants to serve as my alternate, you might have to attend one meeting a year, and I would brief you on the subject, I hope. Hopefully there's nothing major. I don't miss budget meetings or retreats and that type of things, but once in a while I do go on vacation, and those particular agencies ask that I have an alternate. So it wouldn't be a heavy lift. And that's all I have in the mayor's report. Department directors, Mr. Ryan.
Thank you. I'll be brief because I talked a lot tonight. So we will be opening the request for proposals for Givens Park Master Plan this week. So that's going to be an exciting process where we can, as a community, do public engagement, plan for the future of the park. The other item I have, I believe council's been briefed, but we are in the right-of-way phase for Bethel Corridor, and letters will be going out. So as I stated before, I just wanted to keep council up to date. Thank you.
Crocker.
I have some positive news. I don't know if you recall, but at the beginning of 2025, I informed the council that we are going to be working with the IRS to apply for a tax credit for all the EVs we've purchased, as well as the EV charging stations. And we just received our check today, and so we actually received $51,000 back for the 6 vehicles we purchased, as well as the EV charging stations that were installed, because they qualified for the Inflation Reduction Act tax credits. So good news for the city. Those vehicles' costs were reduced by $7,500 each, and we had additional roughly $7,000 reduction for the charging stations themselves. So all good news.
You know how much I love those Ford trucks. Now that they're done making those, what are
We don't.
I mean,
know
just
yet.
saying, like, I mean.
Yeah,
you
they
know.
paused production.
So,
Let's continue to don't.
DMC on those?
They said we're done.
Did we get those already? I'm being serious. Did
The
we
state's
already
gonna have to
order
change their
those?
stupid law.
We're gonna receive those still.
Yes, yeah, everything we've ordered, we have received.
Vaughn?
Yeah, I've got 2 announcements tonight. First of all, the City Council expressed an interest in creating a grant or loan program to help refresh facades downtown.
Right.
And so I wanted to let the City Council know that we have sent letters to all property owners and business owners downtown, asking them to reach out to us if they are interested in to share what they would like to do and if they have an estimate of what that might cost. And so we're trying to solicit information so that we could potentially look at designing a program based on what was included in the budget.
Where would this money be coming from?
General fund.
Budget.
I'm learning, I apologize.
Our general
Okay,
fund.
So from the general fund. So this is for everywhere or just the waterfront?
Just downtown, and I believe council was briefed on this last year, and so we can bring you up to speed offline.
Is there a reason it would have come from the general fund and let's say like not the LTAC?
Wouldn't be eligible for LTAC.
for LTAC.
That's in
Even though
beds.
that, even though that's tourism?
No, it has to be marketing or operations of tourism. It cannot be capital and purchases by Washington state law.
Okay, thank you.
And we, just to update, like, Charlie's researched ways that we can do grants, and that qualifies. Because it's one of those things where people continue to, complain about the appearance of downtown, right? We have no enforcement. So all we can do is incentivize.
For sure, that's why I'm just asking.
Yeah, no,
I'm
I
not
just
saying
wanna-
that
I just wanna update you
no
on
grants, I
why.
was just kind of wondering, like, since that's our tourist,
Mhm.
you know,
fair
what do you
question.
call that, our tourist thing, that's why I was wondering why it didn't come
I
up.
just want to
with
give you
that.
like kind of a
Yeah.
rundown of why we created it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Buckets of
by the
money
way,
are always the tough
thank you.
part.
Oh, yeah, that's what I want to know. I want
That's
to
what
know
I'm
where the
saying,
bucket
yeah.
is and why it comes from there.
So those letters went out this week. If people should have them by the end of the week, certainly. My other announcement, I'm going to share my screen here on Zoom. The city had an agreement for the Haven Apartments project back in 2021. That agreement is expiring this summer. And part of the agreement, the only part of the agreement that is not yet fulfilled, is that they posted a performance bond guaranteeing the payment of $126,400 in impact fees for parks. We have identified in our parks plan a park to be located at the confluence of Blackjack Creek and Ruby Creek. And so this property was eligible for an impact fee credit if the developer wanted to give it to the city. So we're at the point where the developer either needs to dedicate the property to the city, or we pull that bond and receive the impact fee money that has been posted for the city. And at this point, we're further along in the Kitsap Transit Park and Ride design. I think that the prospect of this park being developed in the near term, it's probably not going to happen right away. And unless Dennis has value from Public Works of the culvert project he's getting ready to do, or possibly foster pilot program mitigation, I think that our preference is probably to request that the impact fee money be deposited. It's $126,000 that was to mitigate the impact of those apartments on our park system. But they have the option to do either, but if council has a strong preference, I think we could push them in the direction of paying the fee if that's what we prefer.
Yes.
Yes.
And the reality of being on the transit board, the park and ride lots being developed with federal money, and transit wouldn't be able to just gift us that land. We would have to have it appraised and buy it from Kitsap Transit. There's setbacks from the streams, and it will be open space. It just won't be a formal park along the streams on the Kitsap Transit. It's not someday that we couldn't acquire that from the transit, but because there's federal money in it, they can't just gift it to us. Have it appraised and buy it from them. So unless Dennis determines from Foster that there's some benefit from a mitigation standpoint, I think the direction of what I'm hearing is that we'll collect the money from the developer.
Absolutely.
And not acquire that land. So, okay. Go ahead, Mr.
Just
Chairman.
we moved on to that before I could ask my last question about when we'll get an update on the letters that were sent out to the downtown organizations.
We've asked people to reply by the end of the month, so as soon as the end of the month comes, we will compile any feedback we've received and we'll report to the council, maybe February work study if there's room on the agenda.
Great, thank you.
Hey, Nick,
Yes.
that property we're just discussing, where is that in relationship to where our stormwater park is projected to go in?
It is across the state highway, so the stormwater park is, I just clicked on it here in green in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. And so this parcel is on Sydney, probably a mile and a half drive around, but only a few hundred feet away. as the crow flies.
So would that be accessed from, what is it, the Gilchrist Chevrolet Road now?
Yeah, Hovde Road, the apartments are at the corner of Hovde and Sydney, and so the parcel that I've highlighted here, I'll zoom in, is this green outlined parcel just south of the community building for Haven Apartments.
Down by the intersection there with
just south of
Safeway.
that, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that- Yeah.
Yep.
Right next to Ruby Creek.
Yeah.
It spans Ruby Creek, actually. And any update on I know that there have been holidays and everything, but the cabaret license body of work you guys were doing, determining the,
We will restart that analysis.
Yeah.
Apologies, yes.
okay. All right, maybe we can get something later in the month.
Absolutely.
Okay, wonderful. Anything else, Mr. Bond? Okay. Sarcher?
Thank you. Just two things real quick. As you all know, the legislative session kicked off yesterday, and my firm monitors activities, and there are a number of pre-bills that were filed that we are monitoring. This council is far more savvy than the other bodies I work with in tracking bills yourselves, but I will highlight those throughout the session that are of interest, or I believe that would be of interest to you. I'm always happy to have a conversation about those offline or during the session. Also wanted to very briefly highlight a case that just came out of Seattle adjacent, the Horvath versus DBIA. The Supreme Court was asked to look at an aspect of the Public Records Act known as the Telford test, which determines whether the records of our contractors could themselves be considered public records. And that test had been pretty solid in law, such that we could draw a line between certain contractors that we hire to do things and ourselves, and those contractors were protected from the obligations of the Public Records Act. This case completely upends that, and it's unfortunate, but we're going to try to seek reconsideration of the decision, unlikely to succeed. In this case, a nonprofit organization that was contracting with the city for certain activities is now deemed to be a contractor subject under the Telford case because it provides some sort of public service. It benefits the city in some way. This calls into question then whether organizations, and actually the dissent in the case points out, Seattle Pride, Seafair Organization, Seafair Foundation, Fathoms of Fun, for example. These entities are now going to be considered public entities when we have a contractual relationship and we are providing grant funding. So it's huge. It has big impacts. We're exploring the impacts, and we're hoping the court will narrow it through a reconsideration. Highly unlikely that a reconsideration is going to be successful. Yeah.
So does that mean officers of Fathoms, for example, could have their home computers subject to a PDR request?
Of that, there's a lot of layers to that question, but arguably the entity itself, assuming that the relationship meets the new test, would subject the entity to the Public Records Act. And so if the city were to receive a request, or they were to receive a request themselves, they would have to process that request in accordance with the Public Records Act. It deems the entity, Fathoms of Fun in this case, a public agency subject to the Public Records Act.
And what happens if they don't perform yet?
The penalties would apply to them, correct?
To them, not the city?
To them, not to us.
Okay,
correct.
all right,
Yeah.
that's better anyways.
Yeah, I mean, there's still, arguments could be made.
Yeah.
They could make a request to us, and we would still have to do a pass-through, but, yeah, so.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, bad news to buttress the good news you just heard. Yeah.
Ms. Archer, I'm not sure are you following any particular bills or no?
At this point, I'm mostly fixated on the Flock bill because that's impacting all of my other clients.
I have a question about Flock, but I was also curious about
it doesn't impact you.
HB 1380 that has blocked cities from homeless encampments enforcing camping laws. I guess my question might be more procedural. Is that something this body should consider before the state takes action? And should we have something in place in the event would that supersede anything that's put, or was the state automatically supersede anything that we have?
I will look into that and circulate an email to everybody.
Thank you. Additionally, when we talk Flock cameras, I know we had talked Flock at budget, and I believe we budgeted for it. No, we did not. We decided not to. Okay, perfect. That strips my second question. And then the other last question I had is there's actually two different bills, one in the House, one in the Senate, attempting to, and I know it's very different, but I also have worry about police chief because our police chief isn't elected. And I know that they were talking sheriffs, but I don't know about police, that there would be a governing body at the state level that could remove these head law enforcement officers. You're tracking that one? And or does it have any implication for us?
I don't believe it does. And WASPIC, I don't know if that's on its radar.
It absolutely is on its radar.
There we go. Then it is. But it's not going to affect. I'll find out.
It would not affect appointed police chief.
Yeah, that's
neither bill currently is.
It stands. This is more about elected sheriffs and whether an unelected body that is appointed at the Criminal Justice Commission can remove an elected official from their position without a vote of the people.
Yeah. And I had worried that would, and had read something that said possibly other law enforcement leaders, and I don't want that to happen.
And
So.
I believe there were 4 or 5 bills today that Shelley sent to me that I needed feedback from finance and DCD, and most of them were horrible.
Most of what I've seen has not been great.
They're the subject matter experts, so I forward it to the right director to provide Shelley the information she needs, whether we should be supporting this, opposing it, and the reason if we're opposing it. So,
thank you, Ms. Archer.
Thank you.
Chief Brown.
Yeah, last week was a big week for us. So we had a new officer go to the academy, Louis Clemon, and he will be back in 16 weeks. And as you know, Deputy Chief Andy Brandon, it was his first week at the National Academy back in Quantico. He did elect, because as those of you guys that know Andy, he's a very personal relationship builder, so he requested to have an international roommate, and he is rooming like we did in college with a captain from the country of Oman. But I also, since Ms. Lund is here, I wanted to give her a shout out. We've been getting some really good candidates lately. I don't want to talk any further and put out any bad vibes into the universe, but I'm just very appreciative with all of the work that she has to do already. She still makes time for us to do interviews about once every 5 weeks. So thank you.
Wallace.
Yes, good evening, Mayor, Council. So we have conducted interviews for the communication specialist. So we're still wrapping that up, but we got some great interviews and some great candidates. So hopefully here soon we will have that employee start in the clerk's office. And then the other thing is coffee with the council. I don't have anybody signed up for February, March, April to the rest of the year. So I got these two. Anybody else?
Can we have that be a topic next week? Can we work through that? I just need to, I can look at the schedule, but I have no idea off the top of my head, so.
Okay. All right. And then lastly, it is that time of the biannual year that you elect your fellow council member as mayor pro tem. So, do you guys want to do it at this meeting, or do you guys want to do it at the end of the meeting? I mean, typically you're supposed to do it at the first meeting of the year. So
Work study. Work study.
You won't need one between now and next week.
Yep.
We hope. Don't put out those bad vibes, Mayor.
By a bus, I could, I suppose.
No.
I guess we have one. He would just have to hold those duties for one more week, unless you guys want to add that.
No.
Okay.
Next week.
It's going to be presented at work study or the next regular council meeting?
Work study.
Work study.
I think they'll figure it out, and then it is a resolution has to be passed, doesn't it?
Just a motion.
A motion? Okay, all right.
Next week.
Okay. I'll make sure there's a staff report on the agenda for you guys.
Okay, and make sure that, could you add that copy with council to the work study agenda too?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, because I'll forget in the morning.
Okay.
Councilmember Dedden?
And that's all I have.
Possible to get on the work study the idea of virtual office hours? Virtual office hours? Yeah, coffee with the council is just on Saturdays. It's difficult for me, and so I was hoping to maybe hold virtual office hours to sort of increase accessibility to myself and other folks who can't make it to the brick and mortar.
Lucky for you, that's already part of one of the other things that we had scheduled, because I also work 50 out of 52 Saturdays a year. And so,
Okay, rad.
yeah.
Rad.
think we've got a number of outreach. I think we can kind of all wrap that all into the other topics we have too. I think they're all relevant to that. So it doesn't hurt to bring that topic up at that moment in time when we're talking about the town hall meetings, the copy with council. We'll just kind of all wrap that into council outreach, we'll call it, for a topic. Okay. All right. Ms. Lund, you're here. Why don't you give us a report?
All right, I have a couple things I need to report to you. First is in accordance with Ordinance 00820, which is regarding job descriptions, to let you know when we make revisions to job descriptions. So all routine, but since I last reported to you in November, we've updated the job descriptions for court clerk, maintenance technician 2, IT manager, and my job description, human resources director, all again just updating current practices, formatting, that kind of thing, nothing significant. Also required to report to you under Resolution 007-11 when we update personnel policies and procedures. Like earlier tonight, council has to first approve the policy, but we have a standing resolution that allows the mayor to revise those policies provided that we update you. And the legislative session is ongoing. I'm still dealing with the legislative session that happened last year because a number of pieces of legislation took effective January 1. I have more coming in June, I believe. But the ones that took effect January 1 required updates to personnel policy. That was equal employment to update to ensure victims of domestic violence. Also now includes hate crimes. That same Senate bill changed also our domestic violence leave policy. Another piece of legislation changed the Washington paid family and medical leave program substantially, so we had to update policy there. Then we did some cleanup language related to vehicles and city property. We removed an outdated form. There was contradictory language in 2 different places about whether or not employees needed to pull over to talk on the cell phone, even if they were hands-free. So we cleaned all that up and updated some language regarding passengers and seatbelt use and driver safety. We also added a definition of what a valid driver's license was in response to I think that was a court case that came up in. We updated our smart commuter policy about the ORCA cards that we give our folks that do alternative commutes such as carpools. And lastly, we had a department change their own HRA Viva contribution, and I had to update my chart. So that concludes my list.
Wow.
Awesome.
We're to our second citizen comment period, and we have one member of the public online, and we have one in person. Either of you wishes to address the council, this is the time.
He's like, no.
All right, nobody's rushing the microphone, so I'm going to close the second citizen comment period. Anything for the good of the order? Councilmember Rose Pepe, you have something.
I always have something. Don't forget that you need to file your F1 for PDC and Shira.
Just the clerk will send out my email reminded everybody.
But the only reason I bring this up is because you filed one for campaigning last year. It's January 1st, so you have to file again. So just
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's why I bring it up. Second of all, South Kitsap Public Education Foundation is having their open umbrella on Saturday, April 25th, if you wanted to mark it on your calendar. And lastly, I'd like to thank the police department. On Saturday, there was a rally downtown. There was somebody that was trying to agitate, change the tone of the rally, and the police came and handled the situation. And I received several comments from people that were at the rally. I was there myself, but several people commented very positively about the police force. So thank you very much.
Councilmember, get something?
First of all, Happy New Year. It's good to see you all. We all made it through to the other side. We did. Sorry. You never know, right? And then welcome to Shira. It's good to have another seatmate here. So thank you for putting yourself out there, and I look forward to serving alongside you. Thank you.
Any other good of the order? Councilmember, go ahead.
Yes, there's going to be a ribbon cutting tomorrow at 3 o'clock at the helpline. And go ahead and get there earlier, and you can have a tour. But the helpline is looking great, and so, yeah, ribbon cutting tomorrow.
Yeah, I won't be here the last meeting of this month, the second one. I'm gonna try to Zoom. My goal is to Zoom, but we'll see what my wife says about that. So. That's the goal.
I can appreciate that. All right, with nothing else from good of the order, we don't have an executive session, so that means we're adjourned.
Oh.
I'm usually unplugged by now.
I've just done it from my age as a community member. So I was able to get that part. But I was like, your passion is so that's because this is what ended up happening. So what